We'll like to welcome you to everything there is to know. This is our life, this is our time where the passport bros will like to welcome you to everything there is to know. This is our life, this is our time where the passport bros will like to welcome you to everything there is to know. This is our life, this is our time where the passport bros will like to welcome you to everything there is to know. This is our life, this is our time where the passport bro. Oh, sure, let's go, let's go. What's up, Chewbacca? What's up, Mr. Theo F? We're here, brothers, for another classic, future classic live stream. So, Mr. Theo, welcome, brother. Welcome, brothers, aboard. I'm International Passport. Before we go any further in this live stream, please hit the like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. That'd be awesome. Make sure you hit the super chats today. Hit the PayPal donations, support. That'd be greatly appreciated. And of course, brothers, please book your IT consultations. Once again, Python course coming next month. Okay, February. Don't you forget that. Okay, I'll be taking in new students. I'll be teaching you Python. I've just finished my current batch of students. I'm getting ready for the new batch of students coming next month in February. More details on the way. Stay tuned. Don't you miss that. It's coming in very soon. Okay, I'll be posting details on that very soon. So let's get straight into it, man. So we got Mr. Theo Raff here, OG passport, bro. And we shall be speaking about Russia. Okay. This brother, Mr. Theo, has a lot of intel regards to Russia. Now you know that Russia isn't the best idea to go there right now, as you know what's happening in the current geopolitical situation. But we can speak about the brother's experience there. So before we get into it, Mr. Theo Raff, how you doing, bro?
Looking good actually. Having my fun. It's been a good 4 weeks actually, so getting back into it. And yeah, work is good. Audit, we passed audit, so there's a lot of work to be done now, and looks like a little bit more free. So I'm trying to get more guys into the office, helping them, supporting them, and what they need. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. So, Theo, let's get straight into it. So, I'm Mr. International Passport, long time passport bro. Been advocating, been advocating for brothers to get their passport. I see that comment there. Let me set you up real quick. Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah, I'm
in
going
Russia.
to. Yeah, I'm going to send you a few pics because when I saw her originally, I thought it was her. I thought it was my girlfriend before. And I was like, "What? Wait, it's her!" I'm like, "It's Anna." I was like, "Oh no, it's not Anna. It's Daria." I was like, "Wow." Because I was like, then I was thinking, why didn't I marry her? So yeah, it's been the big question about her. So yeah, I'll send you a few pictures of what my girlfriend looked like, so you guys can see what's possible.
Amazing. So, okay, Mr. Theo, give us a brief intro about yourself, who you are, anything special about you, bro.
So yeah, my name is Theo Waff. I've been um, passport bro for quite a long time. Of course, tonight we're going to talk about my 1 year in Russia. When I was there, I was actually at St. Petersburg State University back in the day, studying Russian politics, literature, economics and transition, history, and of course grammar. So I studied quite a high level of Russian to when I was there. And I've studied a lot about, like, again, military industrial complex. I actually saw things when I was in St. Petersburg. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I've lived abroad for over 40 years, done a lot, been all over the place. My first girlfriend was Russian. My first real girlfriend was Russian. So, um, and we're gonna talk about what it's like to be there in Russia, what people think about, and again, I'm passport bro extraordinaire. I've been doing this for a long time, um, going into crypto as well. So that's who I am.
Incredible. So let's get straight into it, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Russia, incredible. I mean, brother, I think before we even set this tone here, brother, right? you must be, you must have been the first ever black man to have ever touched down in Russia in history at
No,
that time.
no, no. So they have had a long history with Africa. And so there are African students that were definitely in Russia well before me. But when I was in Russia at that time, I think apparently I was one of either 30 or 50 Americans outside the government workers who were in Russia. So we were really rare. And then as an African American, without a doubt, I was like, as a non-military or non-government African American, I was probably the only one in the entire country. So yeah, it was fun. That's all I can say. It was definitely fun. It was legit.
So were you only in St. Petersburg your whole time, or were you been in Moscow, or other places like Siberia, or only St. Petersburg?
I was definitely inside Moscow. I went there several times. I was in Kazakhstan. I went to Lake Bogol. I always forget how to say it. The huge freshwater lake in Siberia. So I went to many cities in Siberia. Of course, I went to the Baltic states. I went all over the place. Like between St. Petersburg and Moscow, there's very small little towns, and I went there as well. So had a great time. Um, Went to a lot of places, learned a lot. So um, yeah, there's a lot that I can say about the place.
Okay, so but how about we start about Russian culture? Obviously, like I mean, me being an outsider from the Russian perspective, it appears that they they clearly are not on Western terms. They're anti-West. Was that something that you experienced there? You saw there, brother, as a passport brother in Russia. Break down the culture in Russia, brother. Is it a conservative culture? Is it a liberal culture? Break it down for us, bro.
It's conservative on their terms, and they are. I wouldn't necessarily say that it's anti-West, but it's pro-Russia, or it's pro their values. And this is something that I had never really seen this before. Before I got there. So I mean, I've been in countries before. Well, it was obviously like they were into their own way of thinking, but this was by far different. Like this is like Western culture means zero to them, and this was a totally new way of thinking. So I had to be much more aware of their values and their history and their experience, and not interject my own experience or Western culture at all. But was a lot of it was listening to what they had experienced and what their point of view was. This was like, even though I had taken Russian for numerous years and talked to Russians in America, it was nothing like talking to Russians in Russia. This was very different. That's what I say. It was like, wow, okay. You guys are different. Okay, so that's how that worked.
Interesting there. So, how are Russians like as a people, brother? Like, communicating with them, being around them. How are they like as a people, brother? Are they like very, state aligned, or are they very stone faced? They're not kind people. What was your experience there in terms of dealing with Russians there, bro?
They're down to earth. They're very down to earth. Um, they they are practical, and they're just like get the job done, like just very pragmatic. That's how I really describe them. And I always want to say this, like when I landed in Russia, I remember like I had been stranded in London for 1 week because I lost my visa while I was traveling from New York to St. Petersburg. So I was stranded in London trying to get my another visa. Um, and what can I say? When I arrived, I met Russian people in Russia for the first time, and they were just get to the point. Like that's all they're about. And I remember when I went from the airport to my dormitory, I learned more about politics by just looking out the window of the taxi than I had in my entire life. And I understood what an authoritarian government was from the first point of view. And it really changed me. It changed me very quickly. So in Russia, it was very obvious that there was no private property, just from looking out the window. There was no private property, and there was no place for you to hide. And
Hmm.
the government was in full control. So if they wanted to find you, or if they thought you were acting badly, they can get you. It was very obvious. So I knew that I had to act in a certain way and conform immediately. That was just from me going from the airport to my dormitory. And when I landed and I got in my dormitory, unpacked, I was like, okay, how do I act like you guys? And there was no argument about the point. It was just like, how do you guys act? How was your day to day? And again, they're very practical. That's the first thing I would say. They're very practical people.
Wow. So Theo, I think as a brother, as a black man yourself, right? You must have had a very unique experience there, right? So as a brother, as a black man in Russia, brother, how did they treat you? Did you experience racism? Was there any point where your life was in danger because you were black? Break down the aspect in life as a brother in Russia, brother. Break it down.
They don't care. For the most part, they don't care. They have had a long history of what I would consider to be anti-racism education in their public system, and what really was communism. And they don't want to have the issues with racism at all. And they're like, okay, you're black, we don't care. We care that you're Western.
Mm,
That was the point. That's where they were looking at me. But me being black, nah. What I would learn very soon is that they thought I was cool because I was black, and I didn't really understand that in the beginning because I'm being hit with a very hard, direct Eastern point of view. So, like for example, the space race is Russia being the first to space with Sputnik. It's the first man in space. It's the first woman in space. The first, what is it? Laboratories. The first space stations are all Russian. The first probe to the moon is Russian. I believe that's true. So that's their whole way of thinking. Apollo really doesn't exist. Apollo is nothing. Gemini projects are nothing.
mm,
And I had to really think about that, like, because for me as an American, landing on the moon is a space race, and they're like, no way, man! Look at all these other intermediary steps. We won.
mm.
We got there first. I was like, wow, okay, all right. I know we were still back. I'm like, yeah, they're like, yeah, we're number one there. Vietnam War is their victory, right? Korean
Mm.
War is their victory, their partial victory. Um, this whole way of thinking, I've never really been exposed to this degree. So yeah, they're not caring that I'm black. They don't care now, and it's obvious. I mean, if I'm on a train or a station, I'm the only black guy. I'm at the university. I'm pretty much the only black. I don't see any Africans there, so I'm like, okay, it's just me. All right, cool. So, oh, all right, I'll just deal with it. So, yeah, it was fun.
Flipping heck. Hey, you're a joker.
No,
So
no,
basically, let me ask.
this is really true. This is exactly the way it was. I didn't even care. I'm just like, all right, because we'll go into it, but you got to understand Russian life, and from that point of view, who cares?
So, brother, so you're in Russia, right? You're saying that it matters more that you're Western than a particular skin color. So, brother, would you
Right.
say if you have too much Western ideas and thoughts, if you're, let's say, in a lecture and you start spewing some, let's say, some Reaganomics in front of the lecturer, be like, "What? This is Russia. This is Russia, bro. This is Russia. This ain't America. This ain't New York. This ain't the Yankees, bro." Was that brother?
Yeah, yeah. So, like, let's talk about Reagan for a second, because they did talk about Reagan, and they talked about Gorbachev and Perestroika and Glasnost. So they're talking about, like, how the Star Wars program was a big threat, and how they dealt with it from the military industrial complex. and I'm listening to this, and I'm totally startled by it because to me, Star Wars is a big victory, right? Yay! But to them, it's a horror, right? Because they're worried about being nuked. They're worried about their people burning to death. And I never really had thought of it that way. And so, I mean, like there's apartments everywhere in Russia. I mean, they're just literally. So I had to actually go outside and think of it from their point of view of like Natasha walking down the street and being burned alive, or like Igor or Ivan, sitting there with his borscht and his potatoes and trying to, just, eat his dinner, and suddenly he's on fire. And I never had thought of it really from that point. I'm thinking it from my point of view, from the West, right? So
Mm.
when I thought of it there, I was like, oh, I okay, I kind of see these people as more being people, and I didn't. They really weren't people before. They were like the boogeyman, the horrible boogeyman, and now I saw them as just normal people who just wanted to, read the newspaper and eat potatoes in peace. They didn't want to get nuked, so they did not like Reagan at all. And I was quiet when I was listening to this. I was like, okay, all right. They didn't like Thatcher either. They thought Thatcher
Mm.
was horrible, and I was like, okay, huh, all right, I'll
So,
be quiet about it.
so, but so you're saying you couldn't rebut, you couldn't say your opinion that because if it was too Western, your life would be in danger.
I could because, um, fortunately for me, a lot of my teachers had already taught in America. They actually taught at my university. So they knew where I was from in Illinois, and a few of them had actually seen me when I was on campus in Illinois. So they had at one point like one degree of empathy for me, or what can I say, compassion if I said something, because they're like, yeah, we know where you're from. You're from a cornfield, Theo, so we can deal with you. But for the most part, I wasn't rebutting them. I learned that very well. It was the same thing like when I was at the Sorbonne. I had, of course, I was dating an Arab there. I was dating a Syrian, and I had Arabs in the class sit there and denounce the United States because of its support of Israel.
Mm.
And I would never go against it. I would just sit there and listen to what they were saying. I needed to hear their point of view, and I was much more interested in that, why they were saying that. So again, for the Russians, I wanted to hear what they were talking about, the economic policies, um, the history, the language, why they, for example, said that capitalism fails. What's the problem with capitalism? I had never really thought about that before. I just, I'd always been hearing that, communism bad, capitalism good. You don't have any rights with communism. And they were sitting back and they're saying like, we don't have any homelessness. There's no druggies on the streets. Um, we don't have a black white racial problem. We don't have a problem with women making less money than men. Everything's equal here, right? And they're driving that point home. They're like, we know what we've got compared to what you have. And so it was something that I had to listen to and really pay attention, not argue with them, but really listen to their point of view and why they thought that was important.
Incredible. So now, but I want to know about the lifestyle of the average Russian there, because when I read into Russia, right, I hear that Putin is the richest politician ever. He's got
Yeah,
200 billion in assets, right? But we don't know it.
yeah,
It's hidden
yeah.
companies or whatever, right? And I'm hearing that Russia is some sort of, um, I don't want to. It's what's the word for it? Some sort of, close friend state. So Putin and his close friends hold most of the wealth there, and the average
Hmm.
Russian isn't doing too good. Is that what you saw out there in Russia, or is that a false statement there? Is there middle class there? Is there one a lower class, and then the top guys are the guys in politics?
Let me. I'll kind of explain about this, is how this works. So during the Soviet Union, um, we had a joke about it, or they had a joke about it, and they said everyone was equally poor in the Soviet Union, which was kind of a funny joke, but it was true. So uh, I learned this idea really quickly about everyone being poor, everyone being the same level. So if you were working for the Soviet Party or the Communist Party, then you had an elevated standard of living, but it wasn't that great. You were still poor, but it was better than other people there. Um, but I'll give this one point real quick.
Mm.
All all workers in Russia, so the Soviet Union, they got 2 weeks of vacation, usually paid for by their company, and they got to go to a cool place. And they didn't have to worry about coming back to the office and having their job gone. It was still there. They had a lot of social peace that way. They have verbs for taking a vacation. And I've always freaked out over this because I, as a Westerner, if I take a vacation, I'm horrified. I only take like 1 day off and I say I'm sick and then I'm coming back to office, right? And they're
Mhm.
like, why are you doing that? Like, why don't you have a vacation? That point was a big point, and it's something I can't rebut with them. Because if I tell them the reality, they're going to think something's wrong with the West. And yep, they had a point on it. So when we're talking about the Soviets, sure, they had vacations. They had a little bit better, like the people in the Soviet Party had a little bit better living conditions, but it wasn't nearly as great as you would think it was, like compared to like capitalism. So there are
Mm.
some people on the top, but they're not like super above like we have here in the West. Now, when I was there, there was actually a famine, and the famine was all through the country. It was actually very severe. And one of the things that I told my group was that we were not supposed to go shopping in Western stores and use hard currency, but instead we were supposed to go in there and shop with rubles and live like Russian people. And that process of doing that made it so that we had empathy for Russians. So if the way it is especially then is if there's bread in an entire section. But when that bread runs out, it runs out for everyone. So
Mm.
we had to stand in line like everyone else and try to get bread or milk. And 50% of the time, the food was actually spoiled when we bought it. So we had to like we got food and it was fresh. It was not spoiled. That's what we call it, considered to be fresh. We ate it immediately. There was no waiting. Just eat it right then and there, because it's probably going to go bad in the next day. So having this experience, we understood what the fellow Russian was experiencing. And we actually had like a brotherhood with them. And it wasn't like we're Western and you're Russian or anything like that. It was more like I'm hungry and you're hungry. And I understand you because we're both hungry. Or do you know where bread is? Do you know where borscht is? Like some components for borscht, some vegetables. Is there sugar? Is there some place they're selling it? And we're trying to make networks with each other and so we can survive. And if you understood it from that point of view, then you were one with the people, and you understood that people didn't have that great of a living standard, but neither did you. So we are thinking, how can you live together? That was the big point that I learned in Russia. So from that point of view, um, a lot of these problems that they had was because of the government. And Putin finally, I was there during Yeltsin. Putin finally assumed power. And of course, I'm not pro Putin. Don't think I am. I'm not. But I will
Mm.
give him credit. He understood how to use oil wealth, various reasons. Russia is essentially a petrol state. And he understood how to transfer oil wealth away from capitalists. He put the capitalists in jail. And he used oil wealth to make industries, buildings, companies, things like this. And within a 10-year time period, he increased a lot of Russians' average standard of living from about $100 a month to around $5,000 a month. And that was actually amazing that he did that. So I'll give him his kudos there. I'm not pro him. Don't think I am, but
Mm.
he did that. And a lot of Russians were happy that they could have food, that they could easily buy food. Like, so like there's various like Carrefour, I believe Carrefour, the French company supermarket.
Mm.
Before the sanctions, they were in there. There were other like other big international supermarkets that were operating in Russia, and they were selling food, and you can buy food. That sounds great. So yes, a lot of times when I was going into the Russian stores, I was starving. I was hungry, and there was no food. And what do I do? And so I had to go to a little kiosk and try to see if they had food, and they did. Cool, go home and eat it. Right? So that's the way life was. It wasn't so well. It was a little hard, but you understood your common man in that process.
Interesting there. So you came bringing that Western wealth, dollars. Obviously, dollars is a far more stronger than the rubles, right?
Right.
So, brother, keep it real with me. Were you a mark there? A mark meaning were you a target? Like, okay, we got a Western dude here. He's got
Yeah.
some cash here. Was there a point, brother, where your safety was at risk there, brother, to rob you, to attack you for your cash? Pick it up, me, bro.
So you had to be street smart. You had to understand what the power structure was. So organized crime there um, wanted to have dollars, and the banks wanted to have dollars too. And of course, they wanted to exchange dollars for rubles, which were basically worthless. Well, I always said when I was there, if I needed more toilet tissue, I just used rubles because they had no value for the most part. So what we understood, or actually I understood when I was in the group, was there were always a group of people in front of the banks or in other places that were offering us a little bit better exchange rate than the banks were. And what I figured out was if I changed my dollars with these guys, I was protected. I was like, cool. I think I know who you guys are. Okay. So that's what I did. So if I got $200 or $300, I would just go to these guys on the street and say, here's my dollars. And they'd be like, okay, great. We got you. And they would give me rubles. And then even if I was outside on the street at night, nobody approached me. I was safe.
Oh, so I
Yeah.
see. It's basically, brother, keep it with me, right? So there was some danger to you because you were Western with dollars, right? People
Yeah.
could have robbed you, attacked you.
Yeah.
Once you got in that in group, the so-called organized group, right? They're like, okay, leave Theo alone. He pays us well. He exchanges our rate here. Don't touch him. Don't attack him. Is that what happened there
Mhm.
with you, brother? Incredible.
Pretty much. So I went to certain markets where people knew that I was exchanging dollars for rubles. They knew that I was a part of that, and they were like, hey, Brat Fyodor. My name is Fyodor in Russian. So like, Brat Fyodor, как дела? And they're like, how are you? And they come over here and talk to us, and they would show me different things like art. I love various Russian art. And I was going there and buying all kinds of things before I left. And they had a great time with me. I had a great time with them, and it was really good communication. And then when I had things I didn't need anymore, like I had various coats that weren't strong enough, so I was wearing Russian coats, and I didn't need my Western coat at all because it was just too weak. I would just exchange it with a local group that was there, and they knew who I was, and they knew who other Westerners were too. And they were like, "Cool, okay, we know who you are," and it was always peaceful for us after that.
Wow. Brothers, get the likes up, man. We're here for a classic. Get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, please. Like the video,
Yeah.
please. We've got over 90 people. Can I get at least 90 likes, please? Like the video, please. So you're saying, Theo, right? Without that protection there, you're likely been in danger. Seriously.
Yeah. So I'll just be honest with you. So one American woman, she was always doing everything with the hard currency, and she was kind of
Deleted?
flamboyant about it.
Hmm.
She wasn't deleted, but she was. How do I say it? Let's say her purity was removed on the
Flipping heck.
streets.
Jeez.
Yeah, and the Germans, they were usually hunted down, and we had numerous stories with the Germans being beaten within an inch of their lives. And the Germans had to be very protected at that time, because there were several of them that were just going home because they were being beaten. Me, no, I was fine because I knew I could survey the land. And I was like, I know who you guys are. Hi, how you doing? I'll work with you. You guys know who I am? Yes, we know. You're the only black guy we know. Okay, cool. So, here are my American dollars. Oh yeah, we saw you just get the dollars. So the way that we got the dollars was we'd have the dollars were sent to us via American Express from Helsinki through a friend's account, like American Express from a friend's account. So they'd be transferred from Helsinki over to St. Petersburg, and then we go to a hotel, and I would give an access code, tell them what to do, and they would give me dollars right then and there. So it was actually hard currency. And so then I would walk out of the hotel, and of course they knew what I had. Right? And people were watching me. So I was like, oh, hi. I'm like, oh, hi. I'm like, okay, I have dollars. Like, okay, cool. So then I would go shopping afterwards. I knew that they were doing um, various activities with it. I just don't ask about it.
Mm.
I comply. And
Wow.
I was smart move.
So that was sent you electronically, right, from
Yeah.
Helsinki to Russia, and you went to the hotel to get the cash out in your
Yeah.
hotel in dollars. That's crazy, bruv. So let me ask this for you, right? Was there a time when your life was in danger in Russia?
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Mm-hmm.
break it down for us, please? Break it down. What happened?
So one time, some guy followed me from the Caucasus on the train, and then he was trying to kill me actually,
What?
and yeah, and fortunately, I speak in fluent French, so I changed my accent, and I spoke in Russian with a French accent, and I said that I was Canadian. And then I told him that I wanted him to go to my hotel, and I can show him some electronics. And he was like, "Cool, okay, I'll go to electronics with you. I want to go see this." And I actually brought him in to the hotel, and then I told the hotel staff to go arrest him. And well, they were like, "Who is this guy? Like, what's going on?" And then they just looked at him and said, "Oh yeah, we're taking you out." So because they knew I was American, like they know the situation. I'm really rare in America in St. Petersburg. And the guy was begging there. He says, "Please say something different." I was like, "No way, man. You should not be following me at all. Like this is not going to go down well." And of course, I was speaking with American accent at that time, and so my supervisor was brought down, and people were brought down, and we're like, okay, so we all got into the police car together, went to the police station, filed a report, and he was detained. That was the last I ever saw of him.
So, probably,
Yeah.
so he was following you from somewhere. And did you look back and you saw a guy following you, and he had like
Yeah.
and he had like an object in his hand, or and
Yeah,
you saw.
yeah. He was. So I didn't know if he had a knife or not. That was the problem. So I had to think quickly about how to control him, and I knew where my safety points were. And once I got into my safe area, there's armed guards right there, and they obviously know who we are, right? So all I have to say is arrest him, and they'll take care of it. So this guy didn't know really what the situation was, but I did. So yep, took care of him. He was out. The other one was I had when I was in Sochi. I like Sochi a lot, but I had a guy pull a knife on me and try to knife me. And then I'm way out of my area there. Like I'm definitely on the Black Sea. So I just ran away from him as fast as I could. Didn't look back, just sprinted, and I was fine. And yeah, that was you I got to my hotel and nothing happened after that. But for the most part, I mean, they understand that if you're a foreigner, they understand that. So if you say, for example, foreigners have no power, so especially Americans. So if you say like I'm in trouble, like this is happening to me, they're like, okay, we know what's going on because we know the Soviet system. So we are part of the Soviet system. We know that you can't do anything; only we can do something. So okay, we're cool with it. So that's yeah, they were very fun with that.
Brother, do you think they tried to delete you because you were a black man?
No, Westerner,
Oh wow.
all Western. It's all about assets that I have on me, all about money. Nothing about black, because they would have straight out done it. I mean, they would have done it in a very much more organized manner if it was black. But these were randoms, and it's usually if I did something stupid, like I was displaying some sort of wealth, so I had to be a little bit more careful about it. But if you're talking about wealth, I mean, okay, so like for example, I have a Walkman. So the best Walkman I ever had in my life was made by Samsung, and it was actually made and produced in Russia, and it was phenomenal. I used it for like 2 years actually. I bought it in Russia, and it was like $66 American dollars. I used rubles, but that's how much the exchange rate was at the time. And I would go around listening to music all the time. I was really happy about it. One of the things in Russia is that there's no copyright law, so they would just like if music came on, like there's a new album, they would just go buy it and copy it onto a CD and sell it. that was it. So I was like, all your favorite groups, you could have it for like $1 or $1 or $2 on the street corners. So that's what I was doing. I was buying music all the time, right? So I'm like putting on the cassettes and I'm listening to it, like, oh yeah, this is great, right? And people would see me do that. That's when I became a target. I didn't really understand it. I was 20, you know. I'm like, oh, I want to listen to Two Unlimited. Oh, I want to listen to English music. So we had cable, but I didn't care about cable at all when I was in Russia. What I cared about was UK MTV. Okay, so we were a big fan of UK MTV because they had like these really great VJs, and they were so funny. The British were so funny, so we just sit there and watch them and just laugh with them all the time. And of course, they have a lot of British like EDM on there. So Capella, Two Brothers on the Fourth Floor. What was it? Two Unlimited. I remember Two Unlimited quite a bit. Sting, things like that. U2, of course. So if I could buy that on the street, of course I would go ahead and do that, and that's what I did. So that's how I go. I was buying more and more English-based music when I was 20 years old. So I didn't understand what I was doing. That's all. I was just being a 20-year-old.
Brother. In regards to the Sochi incident, brother, right? So you saying you're walking down the street, a guy walked up towards you, pulled out objects, and looked at you in the eye and wanted to knife you right there. But he walked up to you face to face, put out his knife. What?
Yeah,
brother,
yeah.
That's a movie-ish right there. That's
you got
it. And you ran as fast as you can into your hotel or onto your someone
no,
else.
No, you have to.
You lost him.
You have to get him. You have to get him to walk with you slowly, because between my hotel and the bus, then the train station, it was about, I don't know, about at least 1 kilometer, and there was a lot of empty space. So if I get knifed there, I'm not going to make it. So I actually have to get him into my safe area. So that's what I did. I was just really smart about it.
And you ran as fast as you could, bro, and he couldn't catch up with you.
Oh, that was sorry. In Sochi, yeah, in Sochi, I just ran as fast as I could. Yeah, Sochi was a little. It was kind of like a wild Miami. It was like Cancun and Miami together, except there's more gangsters than hot women. so there's a lot going on there. So I'll be like, I'm gonna go get some food, and I'm gonna go shopping over here. This is some great stuff, and oh, there's some crime over there. Okay, I should get back to my hotel room, or I don't care. And then, oh, somebody's trying to kill me. So
did he chase after you, brother, in Sochi, or he left you?
Yeah, he chased after me.
What?
Yeah.
How did you get safe? You just outpaced him and he stopped.
I ran.
That's crazy, bruv. Oh my
fast.
goodness. Did he speak to you as to why he approached you? Like, was it for your Walkman? He just came up to you.
Yeah. It wasn't a time for logic. It was a time for sprinting. That's all it works. I mean, run.
So no words from him, right? He walks up to you, pulls out a knife. You're thinking, what's going on here? And you just ran. That's crazy, but in Russia, oh my goodness.
Yeah, Sochi. Yeah, it's a different area. So
and
you just don't. you don't care about it. You just don't care. You lived. It was okay. Good. You got home. That's it. It's fine. It's another day.
And brother, both perpetrators were white Russians, white male
Oh
Russians.
no, they were Kafkas. They were
Cough, cough.
they were Kafkas. Yeah. So the from the Caucasus, you could say technically they're white, but they're not. They're not bieli. They're not like they're not like okay. Those images I just sent you with Daria, they're not
Mm,
white like that.
I see.
They're they're mountain people, so they look more like Persians than they do like white people.
Flipping heck.
Yeah,
Wow. So, but I'm thinking, right, what possessed you to go to Russia and study there, brother? I'm thinking, out of all the countries in the world at that time, what possessed you to go to St. Petersburg, especially at that time, brother, after the collapse? What
I
happened, brother?
liked Russian. I liked Russian. I just kept on studying Russian, and then I hit fourth year Russian at university. Actually, my third year university, I hit fourth year Russian. So they were like, "Hey, you need to go to Russia." I was like, "Okay." So I was advanced, and I thought, "Okay, why not do 1 year Russia?" And they said, "Oh, they talked about how great it was going to be, so beautiful, it's going to be so great, right?" Uh, so I I was on the airplane. This is a funny joke. I was on the airplane flying into Russia, right? And I could see deforestation. It was the first time in my life I saw deforestation in my life. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was seeing like all these apartments all over the place, and there was no homes. And it was from the air, you could tell there's no private property. Everything is state owned. And I was like, take me back. So like turn the airplane back to London. Let's go back home, please. And I don't want to go here. And they landed like, okay, you're stuck here for a year. I'm like, oh, okay. And I had to make do, you know. So that's how it actually really worked. Um, I didn't. I knew some things about Russia, but when I was there, that's when my eyes were open. I was like, oh, I'm here now. Okay, yep, this is Russia. So
Wow. Did you
yeah,
have to go to Russia, or could you have declined going to Russia?
yeah, I could have declined. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I went there. It was one of the best. I would say, for an individual, it was one of the best experiences that I had. When I was there, I wasn't necessarily happy. A lot of times I wasn't. I wish it was a bit overwhelming. I wish I could have adjusted a bit and then dealt with it. Had a different mindset to go into it. Um, but you know, I learned a lot while I was there, and I had to adjust a lot with my life while I was there. So learned a lot. That's the thing. One of the things, again, just real quickly, one of the things I learned when I was in Russia was very simple. If you want something done, don't ask about it. Go out and get it done yourself.
Mm,
It's because the government is horrible there, so you can't depend on anyone to do their job. So if you see like a pothole, go fill it in yourself.
hmm,
Don't complain. Just go fill it yourself. It's easy to do. You just okay. There's a pothole. You put some rocks in it. You put some dirt. There's plenty of dirt all over the place. Just put some dirt on it. Maybe put a board on it. It's for a while. You don't have to deal with that pothole, but you do something. You as the individual do something. Um, if you notice in my class, if somebody asks me for something, a lot of times I say, "You go do it yourself. You go figure it out yourself." That comes from me being in Russia because there's you just don't ask people to do things for you. You figure it out on your own. One of the big things I learned. The other things I learned was always be happy for what you have because it could be taken from you. So private property is a blessing. It's not something that you can just have like out of the blue. You actually have to have institutions in place in order to have private property. If you don't have a court system, if you don't have proper taxation, you can't have private property. I didn't really understand that concept before. But yeah, and Russia, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So, hmm, yeah, it's good.
So let's say, brother, in 2024, a brother is thinking about going to Russia. What cities are the best for him, in your opinion, brother, to stay there, brother, to live there? Obviously, we'll get to one part later on, but what's the best places or place to be at, bro, in your opinion?
Let's say it's 2013 or 2012.
Hmm.
yeah, that would be okay. Not now.
Hmm.
Um, or if we say now, let's imagine there's a multiverse, and there's no war going on right now. Okay, so then I give it advice. What do you think? So um, I would definitely say Moscow. Yeah, I just saw what the guy was saying. Moscow is a blast. It's so fun. There's so many things to do in Moscow. It's like it's crazy. Yeah, you get a lot of trouble in Moscow, like having a good time in Moscow. I thought St. Petersburg was a bit boring. That's unfortunate. I think that was just because I was a bit overloaded. If I could have just relaxed a bit more, there's so much more I could have done in St. Petersburg. Um, but Moscow was fully decked. First, the thing we liked about Moscow is that it had food. It had food everywhere. So we, I'll give you this story. I know this is good, great. So the first time I went to Moscow, um, okay, so we get a visa. So you have to have a visa to go from city to city in Russia. So we got a visa to go to Moscow. We got on there. We got on the train. We did an overnight train, and we get there, and then we go to Pushkin Plaza, which is the main road in Moscow, and we went to one of three McDonald's, and it actually had food in it. Because most of the time, especially in St. Petersburg, if you go to a store or a supermarket or anything like that, if you go in there and ask for food, you can go to a restaurant, they don't have food. They might have water or something like that, but it may necessarily have food. So we can go there and actually order food and we actually get fed. So we sat there at McDonald's and ate like two or three Big Macs. I don't know how many French fries and just a lot of Coke. We're just sitting there like just guggling it down, right? And we hadn't eaten food in a while, so that we were all like sick. So we didn't know what to do because we were so sick of it. We were just sick to our stomachs. And then we went back to St. Petersburg, and like 2 or 3 weeks later, we went back to Moscow for Thanksgiving. So we actually stayed in a hotel there. Like I was there 5 6 days in Moscow. Loved Moscow, and we went to a hotel for Thanksgiving dinner. And there we actually had Western food. We hadn't had Western food in a long time. They have a lot of Western food. Like how this hotel, they must have floated in or something. I don't know how they got that much food, but it was just a huge amount of food. So like for $36 a person, we could have all you could eat Thanksgiving dinner. And I ate I ate 4 plates of food. Another guy ate 4 plates of food, right? And we weren't used to eating food at all, so we were trying to like regurgitate as fast as we could because we were suffering so much to have 4 plates of food in our stomachs. Like we were like before we went to Russia, 4 plates of food would have been nothing; it would have been sport. But now it's painful. And like remember one of the women we were competing with, she ate 5 plates, and to her it was nothing. But to us, it was really hard to eat 4 plates. So I remember that. It was just kind of a funny memory of it being in Moscow. And, we're thinking like, we have to be thankful for what we've got,
Mm,
right? Having food is something to be thankful for. Don't take it for granted because a lot of people in the world don't have food.
mm.
Yep.
Wow, incredible. Wow. So obviously we're gonna get to the woman part here, brother.
Mhm.
Um, so, brother, let me ask this about the cost of living there at the time that when you were there,
Mhm.
brother. Was it very cheap compared to America? Like literally super cheap.
Super cheap. It was beyond cheap. It wasn't. You weren't even really thinking about the money.
Mm,
It wasn't even something to talk about. It was so cheap, like pennies on the dollar, legitimately. It was just ridiculously cheap. You get books there. I got a lot of books. They're all cheap, just nothing because the economy had basically collapsed. So they were doing economies in transition, and then they were having some introduction of capitalism, like they would call transitional economies, and they were having a really hard time at that time. So yeah, there was just a lot of food that um, we can get. What was that? If food was usually if we got food, it was imported but like books, art, things like that, they were being sold really cheap price. So yeah, we can get those all the time we wanted.
Wow. Brother, brother, the power structure there in Russia, obviously, if Russia has syndicates, the government, it's got a whole separate thing there. When you were there, brother, who was calling the shots in your opinion? Who was actually the shadowy figure? Who was actually running the show there? Because Russia is a very complex country. They got nukes,
Hmm.
they got this power, but they got a lot of oil. But who was running the country there, brother? In your opinion?
We didn't care.
Mm,
I'll be honest with you. So when um, I was okay. So we were in Sochi when there was a little civil war in Moscow, and it was between Yeltsin supporters and people who didn't want Yeltsin in there,
mm,
and they were actually calling in tanks into Moscow, and they're firing tanks. There's issues going on, right? And so the State Department is calling our group and saying like, we're ready to evacuate you from Russia if you need it. We can get you out within 24 hours. And during that time, there was on CNN there was videos of this babushka grandmother walking through the streets of Russia, not even caring that there's tanks in front of her. And I thought the same way. I was like, I don't even care. It doesn't even matter to me. Is there food someplace? Do you have food? Because that's all I'm looking for is food. So do you have some food? You have some. Okay, you got some food, right? That's all we care about. We understood that the politicians do their thing, that you don't have any power. So whatever the politicians do, they do it. So the politicians are one thing and the people are another. That's something I really learned when I was in Russia. So treat the people as people, but politics, disassociate yourself from them because they're going to do what they do. It doesn't matter to what you're doing. You do your thing. And that's how we thought. So when I saw the babushka looking for food and not caring, I was like, right on. That's the way I do it too.
incredible, incredible. So, Theo, that's that part there in regards to overall life there in Russia. Before we move on to the woman part, brother, which I'm sure you had a lot of experience there. Anything else you want to touch upon, brother, in regards to life there? Is it blah blah blah? Break it down for us, bro. In terms of break it down.
It's it's a place where you can have a good life, but um, it's not the same, guys. You have to change a lot of your values. You have to. It's like fundamentally you're learning in church that personal property is kind of in a way evil because it causes you to covet it, and then you start trying to fight over possessions. And that was something that I understood very well when I was in Russia, and that the relationship that you have with other people is more important than any object that you can possibly own. And I really understood that concept. We're very thankful for the Russians for teaching, not only them teaching it, showing it to me. Then all the graves from World War II, from the Nazis, because over 650,000 people died in St. Petersburg during the Nazi occupation, World War II.
Mm,
Seeing the graves, it was horrible. It was a horrible experience. I couldn't believe just how much they had suffered. It was just unbelievable suffering. And one of the things that, as my Russian teacher said to us, he said, you Americans during World War II, you knew somebody who was associated with the war. In Russia, we knew somebody who died in the war. All of us knew at least one person who died in the war and one person who died because of Stalin. And they really emphasized those points to us. They said, you had it easy in the West. We paid the price. We paid the price to defeat Hitler, not you guys. You guys did cute stuff. We actually had our people massacred, and then we actually had our army go and fight, and then our people in our army were also massacred several times, and that's
mm.
why we lost like 27 million people, and you guys barely lost like even 500,000. Didn't happen. So be happy, and that point really stuck with me for the rest of my life. Be happy for what you had. It could have been a lot worse. And then
Wow.
also, before again we get to the woman, slavery is bad, yes, but you understood that it was in the 19th century, And in the 20th century, you had all these people in Russia who had very relevant within one generation stories of being in gulags or family members being like disappeared. That's it, they're gone. Or some other issue that was absolutely horrible. And it wasn't like a story, it happened to them. So, one of the things that happened in Russia that I learned about was, especially during Stalin, was because this is a transition to women. Let's talk about this. If a woman, like let's say a woman's married and she comes home and her husband doesn't come home, she can't report it. And if she goes back to work and then she comes home, right? And after a few days, he's just gone. And there's nothing that she can do about it because there's a possibility he's been thrown into a gulag. And if she reports it or says some problem with it, then they can say that she was a part of whatever he had done, and they can give her the same sentence. So it could be, for example, they just take her out in the back and shoot her. Or they put her into a gulag and then she doesn't come back for who knows how long. And so that was still very much prevalent in the society. That was real terror. That was horrible. And they would tell me the stories of this, and it was absolutely horrible. So it was. When I left it, I was like, yes, I know that slavery in the West was horrible, but what these people would experience was by far worse. Ooh boy, it was very bad. So, it was self-inflicted, but it was very bad.
Awesome. Aaron, keep on topic, yeah? And yeah, you gotta stop comparing black YouTube to white YouTube. Not on this channel, all right? Keep on topic. I don't want to hear that, all right? Keep on topic, or else I got to do with that. I don't want to hear black YouTube, white YouTube, how you feel, who's angry. We're here to talk about travel and solutions. I don't care about whatever happens on white YouTube or whatever, okay? So keep on topic. So shout out to Mr. Duck Dissident for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, bro, for the support. Much appreciate, bro. Salute to you, bro, for the support. Duck in the building. Appreciate you, brother. Awesome.
He's doing really well in the class. I just saw his homework submission. He's rocking. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
He's good at Terraform.
Yes, indeed. Well done there, Duck. Awesome, bro. Awesome. So, Mr. Theo, let's get straight into it, man. Russian woman. So, Theo, before you even speak about Russian women, brother, right? I'm going to ask you, brother, okay? Potentially the most important question in the history of mankind, brother, okay? This question here, Theo, right, is so powerful, it can turn water into wine.
Can I turn it into protein shakes?
Potentially, brother. Of course. Okay. This question is so powerful, Theo. Okay, it can allow mankind to walk on water like Christ did in the Bible, brother. A question so powerful, Theo, it can stop a meteorite from destroying planet Earth, brother. A question so potent, pure, and succulent, brother, it can stop a nuke from exploding, right, on a particular country. It's that powerful, Theo. The question for you, Theo, is: are Russian women checking heavy for black men and passport bros? Break it down for us, bro.
Were they checking heavy for brothers? Right?
Yes, indeed.
Were they checking for brothers?
Were they checking for brothers?
Yes, they were. They were definitely checking. Yeah. I didn't understand it when I was there. I really, in the beginning, I'm in my La La Land, right? So again, I have my Russian hat. I should go get that while in the stream. Maybe I can find it. I can find my Russian coat. So, yeah, I got some. I still wear. I like if it's really cold, I wear my Russian coat, my Russian hat, Russian gloves. That's really warm. So I was thinking about how to be warm and how to get food and things like that. I didn't understand how many girls were checking for me. And girls will come up to me and say, like, let's go on a date. I'm available. This is how you call me. And I was like, what? Right. And I had some of the most beautiful women, like stunning, talking to me all the time. And I just did not understand what was going on. So the girl I did date was Anna. Again, I showed you the photos on Facebook, what she looked like. She looked almost exactly like her. and it's fun. Like just really fun women. Blonde. What I dated was about a five. I was 20 years old. I dated about a 5'6" Russian blonde. Um, Went to St. Petersburg University with me, and she was a translator. I met her in church, and very. She was 19 years old. I was 20, and very educated, like to the point. Um, where I started dating her within 1 week of meeting her. Um, and I was sitting back. The thing I was thinking back was, why was it that it was so easy to date her, but we have nukes pointed at each other, and we're being told that we are each other's enemies, but she's treating me by far better than any woman has ever treated me in my entire life. And then if I go back to America, I'm having to hear how I'm not good enough. That was something that was on my mind. I was sitting there like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like, huh? Uh, she treated me like a human being. That's the best way for me to say it. She treated me like the way that I always wanted to be treated. And I mean, guys, it's not some sort of erotic bedroom action going on, particularly in the beginning. Um, it was a lot of conversations about life and me just listening to her and talking to her. One of the things that happened was that when I would meet her at the station, which is normal, because she has a train pass, I have a train pass. We're both students, so we'd meet her at the station. I would take her to a Korean restaurant, and she'd just go right next to me and put her arm inside my arm and have me lead her to the Korean restaurant. That action, I'll never forget it. When I was 20 years old, I told myself, I said, "You have got to be more masculine. That you have got to be a man. You've got to increase this immediately." And if you're always being used to being called a creep or some sort of predator, right? That you have like, I want to put this in there. Like, again, I haven't had my first kiss yet. I'm 20 years old. I've been in America. I've been in American University 2 years, and I'm hearing all this feminist indoctrination about how horrible I am. I haven't had any like I don't have really any dates. I haven't really done anything in America. I'm hearing like these women talking to me about being beaten by their boyfriends, baby deletions, things like that. That's going on. They're crying on my shoulders, but they're going back to these guys.
Mm.
And then I have Anna here. It's obvious that I'm her first choice, and that she went out of her way to get dates with me. And I'm like, how could it be this different? I don't get it. Like, how could it be this? This is extreme. Like, how is it? And I can see people who's listening to me and thinking about money. No, it's not about money. Let me explain this to you guys. Okay. So Anna is Russian. Um, Her apartment, she's living with her mom. Her university is free. The government gives her a stipend for her being a university student. Um, Her apartment is also free because she's living with her mother. And at that point, all apartments were either government owned still, or they hadn't been transferred to the people yet, something like that. But there's no there's no water bill, there's no gas bill, there's no car bill because they don't have a car. There's no electric bill, there's no mortgage, there's no insurance. So they have a they have a house there without any payments. That's it. They don't have to pay taxes, nothing. So they get a salary every month and it's guaranteed. She only knows solid middle class living her entire life. Then she is definitely reading about the West, and she's reading about homelessness. She's reading about how there's a drug epidemic problem, and how like Japanese companies are coming in and buying factories, and the steel factories are closing and everything like that, right? So from Anna's point of view, the West is a mess. And although she really wants to date me, she thinks I'm going back to a hellhole. I want you guys to understand that's her point of view while she's dating me. Like, she thinks She thinks all of America is the projects, right?
Wow.
So if you have that, including white people, that the white people live in the projects too. So if you understand that from that point of view, she's not coming there for money. She's actually interested in me and talking to me, but it's not about cash or anything. She never asked me for money or anything. It was, of course, I paid for everything because I was a gentleman. That's just the way you do things. But there was no um, there was no cash being used for services or anything. That concept wasn't even in her mind.
Wow.
So yeah, we were having a great time talking to each other. It was really wonderful. Just her and me talking was great.
Do you know what, brother? Right. So when I deconstruct the love Russian chicks have for brothers, right? I'm just like, because being in the UK, I've met Russian women. They've been interested in me, right? When I hear from other brothers, yeah, they're like brothers. But I'm thinking, what's going on here, brother? Why? How is it possible for Russian women to like brothers? Where the media in Russia is definitely obviously controlled by the powers that be, right? Um, we don't know we don't know how we don't know the narrative as to how they describe brothers towards Russian women. So, brother, how is it that so many Russian chicks, right, like brothers? When you were out there, brother,
NBA, NBA,
what's the reason why? Okay,
NBA. So and yeah, basketball. There we're
that's
both sides are basketball fanatics. I would say hockey and basketball. They're,
mm,
yeah, both sides are crazy about it. I learned more about basketball when I was in Russia than I did in America.
hmm,
I didn't know it was so big, that they knew about all kinds of things I didn't know about, history, things like that. Yeah, they definitely came to play. When I played basketball all the time when I was in St. Petersburg, they were there to play, but they were like, "Hey, we got a black guy there. Let's go play." So yeah, they were definitely interested. They came and they brought their best game. That it was fun. I had a great time. So I played basketball. I played hockey. Played football, international football, not American football, but international football. We had a great time doing that. It just fun. Uh, but yeah, they. I would say this. Okay, so the media is controlled by the government. Particularly when I was there, there isn't any independent voice, and so like especially Pravda, you always read Pravda with a grain of salt, maybe a kilogram of salt. You know, so if they say something, you're like, oh, okay, so maybe it's right. I don't think so. Um, and you just learn not you learn to have your news sources be your friends and not any kind of media or anything like that. And my friend groups of Russians were really wonderful people. They were really down to earth. They were great people. So the way they look again, to them, racism is a bane. They don't want to have racism. Racism is a bad thing because it doesn't advance their culture or communism. So they want to get rid of it. And so, okay, let's say Anna, right? Anna, blonde. What she's looking at is other men. There are men who are available to her, right? Who's going to give her the best treatment? Who's going to be talking to her and respect her for who she is? And one of the things I asked her was, of course, there's like Ivan who's drunk at the bar. That's always a joke, but that's actually a real thing. So Ivan's drunk. You go on and is drunk, right? And I said, like, why don't you go date Ivan or something like that? Go date a Russian guy, like who's like, Chad Tyrone type. And she said, she'd always tell me, she says, if I want to be a single mother, I'll go date those guys. I know I won't be a single mother with you.
wow,
It's like, yeah. I was like, wow. Like, so why can't my women think that way? It's like, why am I? Because I was being passed over for Chad Tyrone. She's like, yeah, I want to be with you. I had the same thing at the Sorbonne 1 year later. That's how the Syrian talked to me. Exact same way. So when Anna is talking to me this way, it really opens up my eyes. And she's like, you have value for who you are. You are smart. You're intelligent. You made it over here. You're doing something. You're working hard. I want to be with you. And I was like, it wasn't this the way it's supposed to be? Like in university, this isn't the way that women are supposed to be thinking about the guys. They would have made my American university experience a lot better. Um, so we didn't. When I was at that university, I rarely saw women dating bad guys. They were always with the, the engineers, scientists type, the government party types. Those are the guys who were getting the dates.
Wow. So, brother, how did Russian men feel about you, foreigner, being one of the top-notch chicks in Russia, bro? Did you get a lot of hate? Was there any threat towards you, brother? How did that? No. Okay.
No, they were scared to talk to me because during Soviet Union, so during communist times, if you were caught talking to a foreigner, it could be a gulag for you.
Wow.
So most Russians were scared to talk to foreigners unless it was like some sort of government sponsored thing. So the government said it was okay. So for this, Anna is talking. We're university students, and we have the opportunity to talk. So it's okay. We can. It's people aren't. She doesn't have that fear. That's why. So people would see us dating on the street. They didn't care. No, you're not going to apply power. Just the way it is. Everybody's hungry. Nobody can find food. It's the same situation. So they don't have an issue. It's kind of like, again, one guy shot the Skylar. I forgot his name. But one of the things he said about like a 30-year age gap dating in Brazil is nobody cares because they're thinking about how to pay the electric bill. So they don't have the opportunity to do that, right? So yeah, it doesn't matter. What Tony Danger? I can't believe that. No. Russia is, particularly at that time, it had better values and was more advanced than what you've got, honey, because they don't have welfare at that time. They understand that they understand that they're not to be single mothers. If you want trash, that was back in the West in the projects in particular. They don't have that system in Russia. They knew better.
So let me ask this right for you, right? So when it comes to the look of a Russian woman, the average Russian chick, brother, right? When you were there in Russia, is it true what they say? Is it some of the best looking women in the entire of Europe or in the world?
Yeah,
looks wise, brother. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's the most beautiful women I've ever seen.
Ooh.
Yeah, hot.
What? Damn.
Yeah. They're not going to be overweight. Like 5'6" and above, 5'6" to 5'9" blondes are prevalent everywhere. A Russian woman can take a very basic cosmetics, a very basic foundation, and make herself look gorgeous on it. So they don't have like a lot of cosmetics on their face. It's actually very basic. They don't eat processed food. They eat a lot of borscht. So it's usually going to be borscht, some sort of soup. Black bread. I love black bread. I eat black. I love it, especially from there. Love eating that. Oatmeal oats for breakfast, something like that. Buckwheat. I ate a lot of buckwheat when I was there. Loved it. Not like hydrogenated oils or anything like that. Very little. Very, very little. So little meat. So they get protein from their sources. Well, they get some vegetables, but it's nothing bad. So if you eat natural like your entire life, you're gonna be thin. That's the way it is, and that's how they were. So I would say most women, they would say between 15 and 20% body fat, if that. They were hot. Yeah, gorgeous.
Wow. I'm looking at borscht online. So some tomato soup with cabbage. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I eat that daily.
What, currently or back in Russia?
Back in Russia. So I would usually eat black bread and borscht every day. In Ukraine, the same thing. Just eat. That's just a part of like life. It's beets. It's usually red beets, and some cabbage. A lot of cabbage in there. I cabbage and potatoes like crazy.
Wow, this is incredible. But what was your favorite cuisine out there in Russia?
If I could eat pizza, I love pizza. So we would really fight to have pizza. If we get the ingredients for pizza, we ate that stuff immediately.
So is that Russian pizza, Russian style pizza? I'm guessing. Or?
Yeah. So just get the dough, get some yeast, learn how to make the bread yourself, make the dough yourself. Get some tomato paste if we could. Get some meat, anything. Bake it. Get some cheese if we could. Bake it. We got pizza.
But pizza is Italian, bro. What about like a Russian cuisine? your favorite Russian cuisine, specifically that's Russian food. That's Russian.
Vareniki. Vareniki. That's
How
actually
do I spell that?
Slavic. It's actually Slavic. Vareniki. 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 I don't know. Varrenki.
Okay. Dumpling.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I eat vareniki all the time. It's different than what you have in the West. And then blini. A blini is like a Russian pancake. Oh man, I eat blini all the time if I can get that stuff.
Blini.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So
Okay.
I ate that. Then they'd have various vegetables. Let me think. What else? A lot of times we couldn't trust the water. Just to be honest, this is going to get kind of fun now. So I couldn't trust the water, but we could always trust Coke and vodka. So we drank a lot of Coke and vodka when we were there. I'm just being honest with you because we needed liquid. So we were kind of lit. So especially back in the dorms, we're like, oh yeah. I studied Korean when I was there too. So my Korean teacher, he didn't tell me everything about himself, but I could figure it out. So he served in the North Korean military as an advisor for from Russia, and he told me all like a lot of stories about killing Americans in
Deleting.
Korean War. Sorry. Deleting Americans war. Sorry. So deleting Americans during the Korean War, and I could tell he was ex KGB.
Oh wow. Flipping heck. And he was a Russian?
Yeah,
Russian. Oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. But
Jeez.
he
Flipping
gave me
heck.
all kinds of like pointers on how to speak in Korean properly. I took Korean class with him all the time directly. But he lived right down the street from me. So we just sit there and study Korean, and then I'd bring him something because the thing, look, he was ex KGB, but he was poor like me because if there's if we have all, let's say we have $2 million, but there's nothing in the stores, what can we
It's worth nothing.
consume?
Mm.
Yeah, it's worth nothing. So he has all these rubles, and so do I. Well, there's nothing in the stores, we can't buy anything. So I'd have to find. I would be in central St. Petersburg during the day, and I would get some supplies and bring it to him in class, and he'd be like, "Oh, cool, yeah, thanks." Right? That's how that works. So we didn't really care. That's how I said. Like, if you don't have power, you don't really care about stuff. Your ego just disappears. You're like, okay, can you work together with me? Yeah, I can work with you. Okay, cool. Let's work together. All right. So that's how we did it.
Wow, amazing. Shout out to Mr. Calisthenic Arts for the $5 super chat. The US Navy at one point were able to port in a part of Russia. Guys reported they could not find one ugly chick and one ugly woman. Every guy's head was blown. Incredible, bro. Wow, they're that good looking.
Yeah,
Wow.
they are. They're especially their eyes. If they get the silver or the gray blue look, it's absolutely stunning. And that's what Anna had. She had a gray blue eyes, and I would just sit there and just look at her eyes, and I was like, "Your eyes are perfect." And she liked my eyes because she liked like deep brown. So we would just sit there and like actually have ice cream and just look at each other's eyes. It was kind of fun. It's kind of romantic. Uh, but you're not thinking about, especially in that kind of situation, you're not thinking like, how can I get you back home and start smashing you?
Hmm.
Ain't happening because we know people are watching. So you're
Hmm.
just, how can you talk with each other and actually build a relationship? That's how that one went down. Um, yeah, go ahead.
So, brother, tell me, break down the average personality of a Russian woman, brother. Right? I'm looking for specifically, brother. Right? Are they feminine? Are they submissive? Right? And hold on, Phil. Right? There's one thing that, right, for me, women reach that is peak femininity and peak submissiveness, right? So close your eyes, everyone, including you, Theo, and picture this scenario, brother, okay? You're an IT bro, okay? You put your IT consultation with me. You've done my Python course. You've been on the IT mentorship plan with me by the platinum tier on the Patreon. You're now in IT. It's going well for you. You're in the office. You come back home. Your Russian wife greets you and takes off your jacket. Then you think that, hey, babe, she's like, hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Then you grab her hand, take her upstairs into the bathroom, right? You're in the middle of the bathroom. You look her dead in the eye, bro. You're like, hey, babe, can you undress me? And when you finish undressing me, can you walk with me in the bathtub? And can you bathe me from head to toe in the bathtub? And after you finish bathing me, can you moisturize me from head to toe? Brother, would the average Russian chick bathe and moisturize you, brother, in the bathtub, bro?
No,
What? Come on, man.
no,
Damn.
no, no, no. She's not going to do that because she has your dinner ready for you when you walk in. So why would you do that? You're going to come, it's going to be like, okay, so it's like negative 30 degrees outside. So it's been that way for the last 2 months. So you coming in, you're frozen. So you're just trying to warm up, and she has food for you right then and there. Heck yeah, I'm going to sit down and eat. I don't care.
After
I'm not,
eating
I'm
though,
not,
brother. After eating, it's hot. Let's say it's a summer day, brother, right? And you're like, babe, can you bathe me upstairs and moisturize me after?
no, because then she still has dinner ready for you, and then she probably has your favorite vodka with some sort of elixir in it, and then it's white nights, particularly where I was at. So white nights means basically there's um, no night, no real night. It's bright all the time in the summer. So usually looking outside, looking at that, you're talking about that. You're not really thinking about her bathing or her bathing or anything like that. No, that stuff ain't happening.
But are they
Um,
feminine and submissive on average, Russian women, brother? Feminine and submissive?
they're they're probably the most feminine women I ever met in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, they were more feminine than Japanese women.
Oh, what?
Yeah, yeah, they're more feminine than Korean women are.
Oh,
Yeah, they're they're
okay.
they're hyper feminine. But see, the thing is that they, what can I say? I understand their education system extremely, extremely well. Um, they're submissive and they are feminine, but they won't deal with crap.
Mm.
And they understand the repercussions of their actions. So, unlike Western women who largely don't take accountability for their actions, Slavic women do take accountability for their actions. So, for example, if a woman in Russia becomes a single mother, there's a very high likelihood that she'll never get smashed again in her entire life.
Hmm.
Not even randoms, because they're all red pill. So they're not going to do her. It's not universal. I'm just saying it's highly likely. And I've read boards on Russian, like I've read single mother. I see their boards on various sites from Russia and in Ukraine, Belarus, and they're all saying the same thing. Like they can't get anyone to love them. So they understand full well that if they don't act in a certain way or if they don't do something in a certain way, they're going to be single. And then also they have to um, be cautious about everything that they're doing because they want to keep their man, but they don't want to lose him at the same time. But they don't want to be taken advantage of. So these women have a very particular way of thinking, and they're choosing to be hyper feminine because one of their points is if a woman is hyper feminine, she is irresistible, and a man will want to stay with her. So just be super super feminine, and they execute this perfectly. It's amazing.
Wow. Incredible. Incredible, bro. So, Theo, let's say, right. So, did you see half Russian, half black woman there? Half Russian, half Japanese woman out there in Russia,
Now,
which is just okay. Mm.
now I saw half Russian, half Korean. I saw half
Oh,
Turkish, half Kazakh. The Japanese wouldn't be there. They don't. The Russians and Japanese are like water and wine. Those two people do not like each other. I
but
saw it from the Japan point of view and from the Russian point of view. They do not like each other.
but you're
So I'm like,
speaking in
oh,
terms of governmental talk about average people, right? It's you tell me they don't like each other on
people.
average.
I would say the people don't like each other. The government are lukewarm towards each other. With
Hmm.
the people themselves don't like each other. Whereas everybody's like kind of cool with the British and English. Hey, MPA, right? So, and we're doing a lot better. Like they didn't like anime, but a lot of people there didn't know what anime was. They didn't know what Transformers was or Robotech or anything like that. The new Playboy. Because I was with rich people, and they take me to the mountainside, and then they show me their collection of Playboys, and we sit there and read them together. It was fun. Uh, yeah, I saw the halves that I saw were like half Kazakh, half Ukrainian, half Turk, half Ukrainian, half Finnish, half Siberian, from tribe in Siberia that I've never heard of before. There's a lot of Finns there also in Russia, so they were got blends with them. So those
Were
were
they
the
all were they all checking for you for brothers, Theo? These half
everybody was
chicks?
lying. All the
Damn.
Americans and Germans were being eyed, so we had plenty of attention. Um, I was only paying attention to the blondes. just I'm just honest with you. That's all I was paying attention to. Uh, I I didn't really have time. Like I remember the half Turk, half Kazakh girl. She was angry that I didn't date her, and I look back on that. I'm like, why did I not date her? That was so stupid. Because I was totally into Anna. She was like this just beautiful blonde. But the half Kazakh, half Turk, she was curvy. She had at least a C cup. She's beautiful, like just curves forever. And she definitely wanted to date me. And her girlfriends would go find me and bring me over to her, right? So I would hide sometimes. I didn't want people to know I was there. I just had to go to class. And people were like, hey, come over here, come talk to us. I was like, no, I don't want to. I just want to study. So, uh, yeah, the North Koreans were there too. So they would want to talk with us. Yeah, it was fun.
Incredible. I'm looking up half Russian, half Korean chicks my day dimes, bro. They are flipping
Yeah,
dimes. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Woo! Too
really
much
beautiful.
options. Really beautiful, brother. Really beautiful.
We're,
Stunning.
we were all hungry. Remember saying we were all hungry together. So we're going to the same cafeteria for food. We're all hungry. I mean, none of us have food. So, like, again, I'm living my life like they are. So I'm like, hey, let's do things like you guys were. So, um, yeah, they had there were some gorgeous women there. So I liked Anna though. She treated me so well. She just unbelievably treated me well. Um,
So,
the,
go on. Mhm.
Good. I'll give you the story about Anna. I'll say what happened. So I was in church, right, and I was working with missionaries, and so I would always have missionary activities with them, and a lot of Russians had never seen a Bible before in their entire lives because during the Soviet Union, Bibles were um, prohibited. Nilzia. You can't have any Bible at all. So we were distributing Bibles out, and one time I was out in this area, and I was giving, of course, I was giving Bibles out to Russian people, and a guy from the Russian military pointed an AK-47 at me and said, "Stop doing this, or I'll shoot." And I remember just thinking right there, I was like, "I'm going to die right now. Like this is it. I'm dying. I'm serving God. Um, I'm doing missionary activity, and this is the end of my life." So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to die right now." Like I remember just looking up in the sky and saying, "This is it." And um, Anna walked right over to him and talked to him and talked about how I was a student and I didn't have any special visa and I was American and I don't I didn't have anything special on me. I didn't have any drugs or narcotics and I'm was just helping out the church and that this was a church that was in St. Petersburg and they had a license to operate. And the guy was like, "Okay, cool. That's it, fine." And he put his gun down. And I was looking at her and I was like, "If you were a Western woman, I'd be dead right now."
Damn.
Right? Because she would have let me get deleted. And Anna actually put her body in front of the AK-47.
Damn.
I was like, "Where are you from?" Like, wow. So again, even to this day, I think, why didn't I marry her? So, like, when I got married, other guys know I got married in Japan, and 2 weeks into my marriage, I was looking back at Anna. I was like, why didn't I marry Anna? I should have married Anna. She was perfect. Like, what was I thinking? No, she was just a wonderful woman. Russian women are like that. They're, she was not going to allow me to be deleted right then and there. And she didn't have anything in the game, right? I didn't have anything either. I didn't know what's going on. So wonderful story.
Wow. Let me ask this, right, brother. You mentioned you were rich Russians, brother. How did you get in touch? How did you get involved in with the rich Russian community, brother? Break it down for us, bro.
We were students. It's
Mm,
embassy relations. It's they know we're there, so they come out and talk. And the university had relations with various people. So historically, so yeah, we got to go out to like really the countryside in the north of Russia. It was really in the middle of nowhere, and go out and be with them. It was fun. I don't even know on a map how to get there again. It was wild out there. They had like really great vodka. So we go out there and drink, have cheese and sausage. That's what the big thing. I was like, you guys have cheese and sausage. You have protein. Cool. And, yeah, they had a collection of Western music, Rolling Stones, Sting, Beatles, a lot of Beatles. So we're sitting there listening to the Beatles, having a great time. And then I'm trying to get to sleep. And they're like, hey, what's up? You know what they do? They bring out all these Playboys. And they're like, let's look at Playboy together. I'm like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, this is a great thing to do. Then they brought out posters of all these nude black women. I don't even know what countries they're from, but they're like, we like these women. And I'm like, really? I'm like, well, okay, but I like your women more. And they're like, okay, cool. You like naked Russian women? Okay, we can deal with that. So they brought out photos of naked Russian women. And I was like, I like you guys. This is interesting. I've never had this experience before. So we're gonna sit there and talk about like the aesthetics of one kind of Russian naked woman versus another.
incredible. If you have any questions, brothers, send your questions in the super. If you have,
I know. I say crazy things online, but these actually happened to me. It was really fun.
if you have any questions, brothers, send your questions in the super chat or PayPal donation, or wait for you to call in later on in the stream. We're almost there. We have another hour to go, and then we'll wrap it up. So, Mr. Theo, Theo, is that enough time for you, brother? Let me know.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of time. Yeah, I had back day today. I did leg day yesterday, so I'm drinking protein. I'm good.
Okay, brother. So, let's go on for another 10, 15 minutes
Yeah,
for the woman part, react to some clips, and then this time
sure.
we'll put the lines, brother. So, let me ask this, Theo, right? So, how were you meeting women, brother, apart from university in Russia? Were you going to like the museum, the park? Were you cold approaching chicks, brother, apart from Anna? Break it down for us, bro.
University is where I met them all.
Okay.
Yeah, university and church. That was the easiest place. If I were going to go there today, I would meet them in bookstores and cafes. I really would stay right there, or just do cold approach. They're going to be so surprised that you speak in Russian. They're not going to know what to do. So the big trump card that you're going to have is speaking in Russian. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to speak the language.
Mhm.
And that's because they freak out that you actually speak it. Again, I was in Ukraine 3 years ago. Same thing. They freaked out that I spoke Russian, because Russian's so hard. So they're actually very impressed that a Westerner, particularly Anglo-Saxon, like Anglo-American, the way they look at England and America are not two countries. They're the same country from their point of view. So they're like, you actually learned our language? Wow, cool. Okay, like kurta, and they actually want to speak to you. So that's the first thing I would say, guys. Learn your Russian, even if it's broken, it's fine. They don't care. They're like, hey, we want to talk to you. Next one is, this is kind of an important part. Make sure your clothes are clean. Make sure your shoes are clean, on point. Your pants are clean. You're wearing a nice shirt, polo, something like that. Like today, for Russia, I wore a polo. You got to wear something like this. You cannot play around with your clothes. You cannot look like a bum. You do not wear Air Jordans. You do not wear any kind of gym clothes or anything like that. You dress nice all the time. Khakis, something formal. Even if it's winter, doesn't matter. If it's winter, it can be like 2 feet of snow outside and ice. Your Russian girlfriend is going to appear in heels and a mini skirt and walk through ice in order to be with you. And you're going to look at this and she's going to be like, you're my man. I'm walking like this for you. You better man up. If you're not the man, she's going to be like, why am I with you? That's the way it is. So you better man up. She's going to have, like, her hair is going to be beyond on point. Her hair is going to be the standard for women's hair for the rest of your life, basically. That's how good she's going to look. So make sure you have your act together. That's a big thing I would say with the Russian women. They're going to put effort into it. You got to put some effort into it too. Do not look like a slob. And okay, if she's sitting in front of you, and she has something low, she might be showing the goods because that's the way she wants for her femininity. Look at her straight in the eye. Do not be looking at her as a piece of meat, because she knows if you're looking at her as a piece of meat. She's highly feminine. She knows what she's bringing to the table for real. And she's like, yeah, I know you want this.
Let's go.
Like, yeah, she's like, you better, okay, so what do you have? Who are you? I want to know who you are. And if she could be very elegant, everything sexy, and look at you and say, you're a slob, you're not the kind of guy I want, and walk out. It won't affect her. And that's exactly what she'll do if she doesn't like the situation.
That's crazy. Let me throw this question out to you, brother. Right. So, can we obviously meet Christian Russian chicks, and obviously if you're a Muslim brother, Muslim Russian chicks too, brother, in Russia?
Yeah,
Okay.
you do both. Yeah, they're there, but there are not that many of them. But they're there. Some of the biggest churches in the world are in Moscow, and also some of the biggest, fairly big mosques in the world are in Moscow or the Soviet in Russia. So they actually have it. But the thing is for the most part, this is how I thought of it. Most Russians act Christian, but I would say in the West, most Christians do not act Christian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So with their actions, they actually, like, it's what Christ said, like, I can get this rock. I get like belief out of a rock. I can actually do more with a rock than you. And with Russians, that was definitely true. You can get more Christian behavior out of someone who has never heard about Christianity than you would have with a Christian who goes in the West, who goes to church 3 times a week or always goes there, like who has a Bible and he or she is singing Christian songs all the time, because they actually behave better in Russia than they would do in the West.
Incredible. Let me ask this, Theo, right before I open radio super chats here.
Sure.
What don't you like about Russian chicks, brother, in your opinion? Oh wow! What? You tell me that these are the perfect women, brother. These are literally perfecto women, bro. What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. I really can't think of anything bad. I would say the same thing with Ukrainian women. I would really have, as long as you need to understand their educational system and where they're coming from. And as long as you understand that, you understand how you do an interaction with them, you're fine. You're set. I totally get them. So, Russian women gave me more chances with them than any other European women did, period. And the thing that I liked about them was that if I had brought them over to the West, they would have criticized American women quite a lot. They would have been like, why are you with this loser? This guy is a loser. Why are you with him? This guy is a drug dealer. Why are you with him? That's their thinking. And I'm like, hey, cool, thanks. That helps me out a lot, right? Because I'm thinking the same thing, right?
I always thought, Theo, that they were quite materialistic, Russian chicks, and they practice hypergamy as well to leave a richer man. No,
they do practice hypergamy, but not nearly as bad as you would say in the West. So if you basically like this, they have materialism, but not anywhere close to you have in the West. I would say not even close to you would have in Japan. So, yeah, they like to have nice things, right? But there's things that they're supposed to have. So, like, they would like to have an iPhone, but they know that not all of them are going to have a new iPhone all the time. They would like to have a trip abroad once a year, but that's a part of their culture to have that. That's what they had in Soviet times. So that's just normal, right? Um, they would like you to pay for their cosmetics, but their cosmetics are ridiculously cheap. So it's not really an issue, and they can pay for it themselves. So, I mean, it's nothing big, to be honest.
You think Japanese chicks are materialistic, brother? Hyper materialistic?
Compared to Russian, yes. Compared
Interesting.
to Americans, compared to Western, no.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough, Theo. Shout out to Mr. Ayisa A for the $199 super chat. I appreciate you, bro, for the support. Mr. Ayisa in the building. Thank you, brother, for the support. Russia is my third language to learn. Yes, indeed. Theo got his getting his books out. Look at that, man. Look at that. Let's go.
Yeah. I always keep this is Russian Stage 2 is my favorite book I have for second year. This is one of the most difficult language books I ever learned. I actually I brought my Russian books up here, but these are examples using Russian vocabulary. They go using Russian synonyms. These are hard books, just so you guys know. These are not play. That's another one. They're advanced Russian through history. This is some good books. Yep.
You read all that in one day?
I wouldn't do it in one day. I got Python and AWS to study. But when I was younger, when I was in grad school and when I was in Russia and stuff like this, oh yeah, I can go through like 2 lessons in one day with one of these books. Sure, it wasn't hard. Just sit there and study.
Well, I mean, it's easy if you're a genius. It's easy if you're a genius. So, shout out to
it's easy if your Rita wants to date you. Yeah, she's hyper feminine. She's like, yeah, I'll study your Russian. I'll date you. Cool. Boom! I got it. I got an encompassing reason to actually go and study that. If Keisha is sitting there and calling you a fool for for wanting to learn Russian or something, you're probably not going to do it. That's why you got these slums in the West where black men aren't doing well. It's because like the lames are being put down for actually studying, like I was. But if you go to Russia, Kazakhstan, Japan, Korea, like that, and you're like an engineer and you're studying, the women want you. It gives you an incentive to study and do more.
Facts. Shout out to Mr. JG for the $199 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. How would Theo describe Russian women in 2024? Great question there, bro.
If you get away from IG is an issue. So if you get away from IG models and you're talking to normal women, then they are really down to earth. They're very home family oriented. They want a man. They're hyper feminine, and they are accountable. So they want to talk to you about your life. And they're very good women. They're very fun, very amazing in their life, highly educated, extremely educated. They understand things in a way that you've never understood them before. Well, from a Western point of view. So they're good. The thing is that you really need to go, I would say, like in the suburbs of Moscow and St. Petersburg, in the city. That's where I would go to meet the women, or in the smaller towns, particularly in Siberia. That's where you get like these unbelievable gems that are just huge. So you get like just gorgeous women. You can't believe how amazing they are. So if you can do that, great. But for the most part, virtually what we have right now, we can't do that. It's too dangerous to do it. I wouldn't say you should do it.
Facts. Obviously, going Russia right now is a bit iffy situation. Little up flights from my country. No flights apart from the third party flights with Turkish Airlines, and Turkey and Russia are friendly. Obviously, you want to be in Germany to meet Russian women. There's a lot of Russians there in Germany. You want to be in UAE. Russians are there in UAE, but however, they're doing some activities there that I won't speak on. So be careful there, Russian women in UAE. You want to be in Germany, Thailand as well, brother. They're doing some bad activities there as well, brother.
But it's not so bad, but I mean it's there because the flights got a lot of people who were so you got a lot of people who were leaving because of the war. And so Thailand was a destination that was accepted rubles, and they could do an easy exchange, and then their money goes really far in Thailand. So yeah, you got women who definitely stay there right now.
Okay, there's also I met some actually not actually no that was Ukrainian, but there's also what's that place, Latvia as well, Estonia. You can meet
Yep,
Russian chicks as well.
yep. Now they cross the border because of the war. Finland, Sweden, Helsinki has a number of them. Norway has them because they cross over the border. They were allowed in as refugees, so there's definitely more of them over there. I would say, guys, if you're talking about Russians in the West, if they're already there, it's touch and go. So you need to be very careful about what you're
Mm,
dealing with because they understand you as a capitalist and they're going to deal with you as a capitalist. And this, it could be a little dangerous for you. You kind of don't know what you're dealing with. I do. When they're dealing with Westerners, I'm like, I understand why they're more aggressive with because they're dealing with capitalists. So they're like, hey, look, you're capitalistic slime ball, and that's how they're going to treat you. So you have to be careful. It doesn't always happen, but it happens quite a number of times.
awesome, thank you, Theo. And it could be westernized as well, brother. Super westernized. So you have to do your vetting as well. Shout out
Yep.
to Mr. Calisthenic Arts for the $5 super chat.
Mm-hmm.
Russia has a large Asian population group known as the Yakutia. Theo, did
Mm-hmm.
you interact with them?
I just called them Siberians. That's yeah. Of course,
Mm,
I interacted with them. I just called them Siberians. It makes my life a lot easier, especially in English. Yeah, so
gorgeous,
they're fun.
gorgeous, amazing woman, right? Good looking woman, amazing.
The halves were to die for. They were like when they're like a half Siberian, half Korean, half Siberian, half Ukrainian, or half Siberian, half Finnish, something like that. Oh my god! Yeah, they
Oh, but what
they're
about full-blooded Siberian chicks though?
what?
Full-blooded Siberian chicks.
They were in
Full
the
blood.
back of the line. I got the halves in front. I don't have time for them. I got the halves right in front of me. Right. So yeah, of course I'm talking to them. I got the full blooded basically like white Russians. So not entirely white Russians. Most Russians have some sort of Mongolian blood in them. So they're they're not only like Belarus is actually full white Russian. That's what it means. Belarus means actually white Russian. Um,
Mm,
but you got these other halves that I'm talking to them all the time as much as I possibly can. So, yeah, I don't care about Siberia so much.
awesome. Shout out to Mr. Issa A for the $199 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Super sticker. Thank you both for the
Mm-hmm.
support. Shout out to Mr. Cal Joaquim for the $499 super chat. God bless you both for this intel. Thank you, brother, for the support. Much appreciated, brother. God bless you too. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. So, Phil, that is the end of the Russia segment before we start reacting to some amazing clips with this week, brother. Anything you want to add on about Russian women, about Russia
Now,
in general?
I'll say this about Russian women.
Mm,
When you're dealing with one, you need to understand where she is. So, where she is mentally and emotionally. Don't be thinking you know, like you're Russia, blah, blah, blah. You need to spend some time and then also understand the victories and achievements of Russia and Russian women in particular, because she knows what her accomplishments are, and she's not going to deal with someone who's uneducated or ignorant. So, if, like, for example, Slavic women had to work because so many men died in the wars. So their economy functioned because of the women. You need to understand that fundamentally with them. So if you're coming in with any kind of like wild ideas about how they are, they're going to be turned off with you immediately.
hmm.
Yeah. So understand that. Don't act like a goofball with them. Um, you know, be very honest with the situation, and then they'll talk with you. And know you're Russian if you the best you can. Speak in Russian, and then they'll respect you a lot more.
Amazing. I heard there's Russian women in Japan as well, bro, and they're checking for brothers. You met them in Japan?
I don't talk
Mm,
about Russian women in Japan, actually.
I, I know, brother. They're on that time, right? We can't speak about it in the stream, but they're on that time. Yeah, I know,
Yeah, I
bro.
don't. I don't talk about them. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Mm,
shame. It's a real shame, but yeah. I was like, oh
ah,
well, okay, it's a shame there.
I know, bro. It happens in UAE as well during that time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Um,
it's,
it's a shame.
it's a real shame. I mean, it is. You're like, man, you're like prime breeding stock. Okay.
But you're on that time, so it can't happen, man. It can never be. But you know what? In Korea, brother, man, I know that they're not Russian. Actually, I don't want to say it because I don't want to offend people. F it. F it. Next stream, I'll discuss it further. Shout out to Mr. JG for the $199 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. Can Theo see any woman accepting polygamy? Oh, okay.
Are you nuts? Are you nuts? Are you no, Jake? Oh, no, bro, stop that crap. No, 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 no. It's not going to work with them. Just don't even try.
Main
They have
chick,
nu-
two
they
side
have
chicks.
nu- they have nukes aimed at your house. Remember that. Okay, think about that first. Okay, so they now they have a military that can come in and knock you out. You're not. She knows that. You're not thinking about having multiples. Okay, you're just keeping one and being happy with one. Try
But maybe outside of Russia, but in Russia, I agree, but we gotta be very careful there. But maybe outside of Russia, maybe you can ask her, hey babe, I want to get a side chick. She'd be like, what at first, but she's outside Russia. But in Russia, I'd be very careful playing around these women, brother. Be on your
Okay,
P's and
so
Q's.
yeah, if you wanted to get a side chick, she'd just turn around to you and say, "There's no difference between you and Yvonne." And Yvonne's drunk at the bar, and she's going to see you as Yvonne, and then you're going to get the next action, which is she's going to leave you right then and there,
Mm,
like boom. It's not you can't even negotiate. They're gone. They're going to walk right out, and that's something I really like about Slavic women. They do not tolerate cheating. So you're gonna think you're gonna do something, yeah, forget it.
awesome. Shout out to Mr. Burnt Oranges, what a name. Burnt Oranges for the $199 super chat. Appreciate you, bro, for the support. Sounds like a rock band group, Burnt Oranges. Appreciate you, bro, for the
I know,
support.
right? I like to listen to them. Burnt oranges, yeah,
Yeah,
breakfast on fire.
hey, Theo, you sounded super American doing that. Yeah, but oh, yeah, bro, yeah, bro.
Yeah, yeah, man, rock on, yeah,
You Americans are crazy. You
yeah.
Yankees are crazy. I swear down, man.
Well, I'm here
Y'all,
in
y'all are
Texas.
something.
I could copy them. Like I was listening to ACDC today, so I had my kind of like American card going on there for a while. So yeah, I could do it. But normally I don't act that way. I act like international. I'm looking at situations like, okay, I understand what's going on. But yeah, um, they're asking if there are short Russian women. Yeah, there are short women, Russian women, but there are not that many of them. Most, I would say, I, a short Russian woman would be like 5'5", like 165 centimeters. There's a lot of tall ones. I don't believe how many tall ones there are. I saw so many women like 5'8" and above, and now it's even more because they got better nutrition. I don't know what they're doing because they're like totally thin. Like, so how is it? Where's your food going to? Because not going to your booty, that's for sure. It's all going up. So what's going on? Another point too. Again, before we go to the next part, they are exercising a lot more, and there are women there who definitely understand what squat is, and they're going and doing their squats. And so some of them they're really working it. They're fine, hot. Yeah, they look good. There's not no fat on them at all. They're just gorgeous. So I'm just telling you, it's there.
Awesome, bro. So let's react to interesting clips for this week, and then we'll try wrap it up. Okay, awesome. So, the first clip we got to react to, Theo, is one that's been quite popular this week, Theo, and I want to hear your thoughts about this. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Let me know if I am the only one that has noticed that men are not like how they were when our parents were growing up. Like I grew up, I don't know if it's because like the Italian values or what, like I grew up like the man is supposed to take care of the woman. The man is supposed to go up to the girls. Like the man is supposed to have drive and initiate everything. Like I feel like now it's so hard to find guys that like even just in general have drive in life. Like I feel like it's so different. And I don't know, like, I personally never get approached. I never. Maybe something's wrong with me. I don't know. But like, I feel like then, like, whenever I like talk about it, everyone's like, oh well, they want the girl to like go up to them. Like, what? When did this change? When did this change? Because I want a man. I don't want to be the man. Someone come up to me. Anyways, I just feel like there's no manly men. I just don't think so. I think every guy I've met is like honestly super emotional. And that's fine. Like, I'm all about feelings, whatever. Like, I'm an emotional person. So like that's okay. But I feel like it's definitely like sometimes worse than girls. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, it's crazy. Anyways, so if anyone knows if manly men still exist, let me know. Or if I'm the only one that thinks they don't. I don't know.
Interesting that you go to first, Mr. Theo. What's your thoughts on that particular comment? Or
Yeah, and then back in the day, grandma wasn't a 304 either. So back in the day, men were manly, and grandma wasn't a 304. That's how that went down. If she wants manly men, then she should respect men and not be a 304. Done.
facts. Like, once again, right, hoflation is a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lack of wives are available to us. So how can you expect men to still be traditional when the whole dynamics changed? It's been a minute since I've seen the feminine submissive chick in the West. Okay. Now women are complaining about how men aren't men anymore. That's not how it works. What about y'all? Can y'all cook? Are y'all submissive? Are y'all feminine? Do you have a low body count? Are you a virgin? I guarantee the average Western chick ain't a virgin anymore, brother. She ain't a virgin. So why should we, go out of our way to accommodate you? I feel like when men see her feel, they know she's trouble. You can tell she's trouble. The mannerisms, the accent, the way she's speaking, you can tell off rip, she's not a good chick. Keep away from her. She's toxic. Would you agree or disagree, Phil? You can just tell by the way she is, brother.
After Russian women, I wouldn't even talk to her. I wouldn't even acknowledge that she exists. Like, whatever she wants, she's not going to attain it. And she is the architect of her own demise. So the reason why she's going to be dying alone with a dog is because of how she thinks right now in her 20s. So she doesn't understand it. It's about to happen. It's going to happen to millions of Western women, and they're not ready for it at all. So I don't even pay it any mind. Again, we're talking about Russian women tonight. Russian women just look at this and laugh. They know better.
Facts. So, brother, do you think men should continue being how they are in the West, just check out completely, don't date these chicks, or
Yeah,
okay, go on, bro.
yeah. I don't think there's any other option. They should not even be entertaining these kind of women at all. Just straight up. I don't know why you would even try to date. It doesn't make sense. So the reason why you guys are trying to date is because you don't have options. You haven't been abroad. So if you would go to abroad, let's say that there's no like conflict in Russia, and let's say you did 3 or 4 months in Russia, you did 6 months in Ukraine, you were some time in the Baltic states, and then you came back to the West and talked to this woman, you'd be like, sorry, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you at all, because you've actually seen what feminine women are, and you have no desire to speak to them at all.
Facts, bro. And last point here, right? She's Italian, and from what I heard back in the day, right, even though American women overall were just, on that different time, feminism, horrible to date, etc., etc. The minorities, the Italians, maybe the Serbians there in New York, they were still good to date. But I feel like, even Italian women, they're not immune to the whole Western culture that's destroyed them as well, brother. Uh, is that a good case to say, brother? Would you think that all Western women in the West, brother, in America, are just done for? Even the Italians and Serbians there as well in New York and America.
How do I say this? Although there are some good women out there, I would say your time is optimized by avoiding Western women in their entirety, and then going to another place like Baltics, Ukraine, Russia, possible, Kazakhstan, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, Tanzania, Thailand, Kenya, Brazil, Colombia. Your time is going to be better spent out there. You'll have better results. So it's kind of like you have there are used Fords out there that you can fix and make work, or you can go get a new BMW. Which one's going to give you the better experience?
BMW.
Oh, you don't know because this used Ford has a lot of love and character in it, and it can go really far. So it's really great and just a little fixer upper, and it has a lot of charm. Yeah.
High body count. High body
Okay.
count.
I don't know. I can't judge, but that BMW sure does look good. That's all I can say. And the women would say like, "Oh, now you're comparing us to a car." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm in my Beamer. I can't understand. It's treating me so well. I'm here with Arena right now. Sorry, are you talking to me?" So that's how you guys got to be about it. Just go out there and get the woman. Go out there and have the experience.
Yes, indeed. 5 phrases to say to Western chick brothers: good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and goodbye. That's it. Nothing less, nothing more. We only speak to them during customer service and work purposes only. Nothing else, nothing more. That's it. We're done with Western women in general.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah, I don't know because she has all this stuff going on. You rarely see a Slavic woman acting like this. You just don't. They know what's up. They know what's going on. They're not going to act like this.
Facts, bro. So next clip to react to. Read that from studio. Goodbye, Italian chick. Let's bring in another one. Okay. So recently, Mr. Theo, there's been a war between Somali men and Somali women. Somali men are becoming passport bros in the West to go after Moroccan chicks, brother. So let's hear how Moroccan women feel about that, brother.
Let's talk about the new passport bro movement in the Somali community. So a bunch of Somali guys are going to Morocco to find wives because they are cheaper to marry. And this guy in this video states that he has 20 guys ranging from the age of 20 to 40 years of age going to Morocco because their women are, easier to marry and basically cheaper, only making their meher $2,000. I see this as the biggest insult to women, saying that, oh, we're still gonna go to them because they're cheap and easy to get at, and bye-bye. I mean, I'm all for passport bros leaving the country, getting a wife. I don't care what you do. But when you lessen a woman's worth, saying that, oh, she's cheaper to get at and that's why we're going there, it's not a good look. The comments talking about, oh, I got girls too. It's so easy to bag them. And so if you're a Moroccan woman looking at this, guys, they don't see you as people. They just see you,
Oh, okay. Let me go here first, Mr. Theo, right? So I'm in the UK, brothers, right? And there's a huge Somali community here in the UK, right? And back in the day, right, Somali women were amazing. Okay, conservative, wore their hijabs. You could tell they were good women. Went to school, just feminine in their submissiveness, just all around chill to be around, right? Fast forward 2024, unfortunately, a lot of Somali chicks have adopted Western culture. What does that mean? Unfortunately, not abiding by the laws of Islam, unfortunately, throwing that box around, being feminist, disrespecting men, etc., etc. So they've taken in that matrix pill. They've taken in that Western brainwashing, and it's sad to see. And when I speak with my Somali friends, brothers, okay, they ain't happy. They're thinking, what's going on here? These aren't the women that my dad had back in the day. I'm dealing with lower quality women right now in 2024. So of course they're going to be getting their passports, brothers, to go after other Muslim chicks abroad. Moroccan chicks are checking for brothers. Algerian chicks are checking for brothers, right? Chicks in flipping UAE and Saudi, if you're a Muslim brother, they'll be checking for you, particularly for you from America and the UK. So it's a done deal. And it's sad to see Somali chicks taking that Western brainwashing, man. It wasn't like this back in the day, man. They were chill chicks, but now it's over. Somali dudes are getting their passports and they're saying that it is greener pastures abroad. What's your thoughts on this particular comment, Theo?
I very much agree with you. And then I was with a Somali population in Minneapolis in 2010 and 2014, and I saw their changes as well. And a lot of the men were complaining as well that they were becoming westernized. And if Somali men or any other man decide to go for a more traditional woman someplace else because they do not want to have a westernized woman, they're free to do so. And if feminized women complain about it, they're free to complain, but we don't care. They're not going to stop our actions. We're going to do what we want. Um, it's again this kind of woman yapping, yapping, yapping. You can hear her talk about all this crap that she's talking about, or be with a woman who wants to be with you and you want to be with her. You guys want to be together. What are you going to go for? It's kind of like me in undergrad in university. I was listening to Western women, American women, cry on my shoulder talking about baby deletions and being with their abusive boyfriends. Or I can get on an airplane and be in Russia and talk to a blonde where I was her first choice. Where are you going to be? Where are you going to be happiest with? Why should I be
Abroad, bro.
listening? Yeah, why am I going to be with Western women talking about all their problems that they have that they can't figure out, but they have all these rights? Get out of here. Yeah, figure it out. I got no time for this, honestly. So, this woman who's complaining about it, I wish her luck. I'm sure she has education and resources and she can figure out how to get a man or how to continue on with her career. I'm sure there's some dogs that she can have as a companion. You go, girl.
Facts, Phil. Let me add another point here, right? Like, I think it's very scary and frightening to see just how the Somali women have changed, brother, over the years, bro. Like, and I remember I met this Somali chick, right, that I knew. She was like the most holiest, innocent chick that I knew, right? Fast forward a couple years later, she was dressing in mini skirts. You know, she was just like a 304. You can tell she was throwing that box around. She had that a masculine attitude, very masculine. I'm like, what happened here? How did she change like this? That just shows you feel right. The brainwashing of the West is just very powerful. Don't bring your Western girlfriend and your oh Lord, don't bring your foreign girlfriend and your foreign wife over to the West. Don't do it.
No,
Don't do
no,
it. Don't
no.
even raise your kids in the West, right? If you know what's good for you, because the West here, the programming, the culture, the system, is just too toxic. In that right, feel?
I see no benefit with bringing the foreign wife over. You want to be the foreigner. You want to be the foreign groom
Mm,
someplace else. Then
mm.
you're gonna do well, and make sure she stays in her culture. And yeah, you can come over to the West every once in a while as a vacation, but that's about it. You have to leave. So that's my recommendation. Um, that's it. These women can figure it out on their own. Remember, they're smart and independent. They're strong and independent. They'll figure it out.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely. Okay. Next clip to react to.
I'm gonna do all of these tonight from a Russian point of view, not just passport bro or black man. I'm gonna do Russian.
Let's
So
do it.
you think I'm savage before? The real savagery is going to come out because they don't play around there. So I'm like, ah!
Okay. So I want to hear your thoughts on this clip then, Mr. VOF.
Realize this, but being a simp is one of the hottest things you can do as a man. Like being a loving, devoted, caring partner, taking her to dinner, opening the doors, getting her flowers, doing that stuff. Once you do that, she's gonna go and brag to all of her friends, and she tells her friends that they all now think of you as this hero, this I want a guy like that, the ideal man. You seem really, really cool. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the anti-simp behavior, I'm not going to pick up her call, I'm not going to get her flowers, she's never gotten me flowers. She goes and she tells her friends about that. Her friends look at her like, babe, oh, it's okay, you'll find the right one. Like, and when they see you, it's like gross, ew, like, yikes. And honestly, this goes both ways. Like a girl being the perfect girlfriend, a guy's gonna go and tell his friends about that. If you're like a crazy, controlling, annoying, whatever girlfriend, it's not hot. He's going to tell his friends like, oh yeah, my girlfriend did this and that. But don't you want to be the girl that all of his friends are like, whoa, like you got a really good girlfriend, like the envy of everyone? That's how power couples are made, by treating each other really, really well. And the only people throwing around that word simp like an insult are people who can't get a loving, devoted partner, who will never be able to have a relationship like the one that you have. Her.
Mr. Theo, fire away.
She says one thing and sleeps with another. So she wants to have one type of man, and she's not going to sleep with him. And this is something that women, when they come over from the West, when women come over from other countries, like from the East, they notice this directly about Western behavior. So this woman is talking about the kind of man with whom she'll never sleep, just the way it is. Men do not act like this at all. Do not be listening to what she is saying. You can, if you want to suffer. That's the best way to lose your resources and suffer and always be wondering why nobody is with you. If you want to have a really great relationship, though, treat Russian women like this, treat Japanese women like this, treat Korean women like this. You will have a great relationship with them. With Western women, don't simp for them at all.
Absolute facts. Theo, you're on the money right there, bro. They say one thing and they act in a complete different manner. So, for example, right, we know for a fact that Western women don't respect simps. They don't respect you buying them flowers, opening the door for them. They want you to be tough on them, right? They want that bad boy energy from you, okay? They don't want that simp energy for you. This chick right here is setting men up for failure. This is why never listen to a woman when it comes to relationships advice, right? You want to know how women think? Ask a man. Because guess what? A man dates women, all right? So never listen to chicks that tell you about women themselves, okay? They will lead you to failure. In the West, you cannot simp, right? But why would you want to date in the West anymore, right? You want to go abroad, and maybe you can simp abroad, but what they call simping abroad, Theo, is what we call gentleman attitudes. Buying flowers, opening the door, being caring. Foreign women love that a lot. That's not simping. But the mentality in the West, the way these women think, is over. It's done. Break it down for us, Theo.
You cannot treat them like this at all in the West. It will not go well for you at all. You just cannot do it. You will be friend zoned for the rest of your life. But again, you go to like what I did. You're in Russia and you're dealing with a Russian woman. She'd be really happy for you to do this, but she'd probably say, lay off of it. Don't do it so much. Be a man. And that's how she would expect. Be masculine first. If you want to be masculine first, you're fully masculine, and then you give her some flowers. Great, but be a man first. That's what they want.
So for your guys are thinking, right, okay, I can't simp, I can't, be too, over then gentlemanly with foreign chicks. So how do I act? How do we act, Theo? Is that break it down for us, Theo? How does men act in a relationship with foreign?
The foreign woman is going to be so entirely feminine if she's from a feminine culture that it's almost natural that you will understand how to be masculine and that you will turn on your masculine. It's a very primal feeling to actually turn on your masculine. So she will expect you to act in a certain way, and then you will naturally meet her where she thinks you're supposed to be. Western women don't have this mentality. So there's no way that you can gauge how you're supposed to act as a masculine man. And then if you do go full on masculine, for the most part, they're going to say you're toxic or some sort of crap like that. So just give up on them. There's no purpose. It's like, if you're dancing, there's certain moves you do, and one person does one move and you're supposed to respond with another. If your partner doesn't have any actions on the dance floor, you're not going to know how to move with her. Just the way it is. You gotta leave and go someplace else where they know their positions. So Russian women, Latinas, Asian, they know what's going on. African, a lot of places, they know what they're supposed to do. Oh yeah, you say Middle Eastern as well. They know how to act. They know their positions. They know how to treat you as a man. Go there, but not with Western women. Avoid this. In 6 months, she's going to talk about her abusive boyfriend and go right back to him.
Facts. Theo, so how does a masculine man act? Is that like, paying for, lunch, providing, protecting? Is that in that aspect, brother?
No, those are deliverables, but you have to be sure on your principles. You have to be sure in your thinking. You have to like get muscles, become stronger.
Mm.
That's one thing. And one thing I would say, have confidence. Those are just some parts about being a man. And not, I mean, you have to keep your emotions in check, particularly as a man, because nobody cares. So if you have an emotional issue, which happens because you're a human being, learn how to take care of it on your own, and you'll be fine. And learn how to make community, learn how to talk with other men and work with other men in a manly way, and you'll be fine. This is part of what masculinity is. There's a whole lot of it. I learned a lot about being a man, not only in Russia, but in particular in Japan.
Hmm.
And that's following Bushido. There's a lot of masculine traits in there. So, honor, courage, discipline, big one, discipline, a responsibility, accountability for your actions. These are just some loyalty. These are just some of the ideas that are very hardcore discipline, and they're encoded in being a man. Hard work, perseverance, determination. These are things you have to have. If you're not there, then you're not really going to make it as a man.
Great comments there, Theo. Appreciate it, brother. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next one to react to, and this one is a very interesting video, actually. Present a video file, and so this is the one. Where is she? Oh, there it is. Okay.
About how men use 3-in-1 body wash on their entire body and hair and everything, and they look better than women, right? Like they're not aging, etc. In fact, they're starting to look better. And I'm sorry, I just want to crack that narrative. They don't look better. They look exactly like us. They have just as many wrinkles as us, just as much gray hair as us. The difference is that we've allowed men aging to be considered sexy. A, from a biological standpoint, because if they're older, they're more likely to be able to provide for us and their families. B, because we use Botox and fillers and makeup, we hold ourselves to a different beauty standard. Men having wrinkles is seen as normal because they all have them, because the majority of them don't use Botox or sunscreen or any other face care product. Their natural state is considered attractive. We, on the other hand, do so much to ourselves to maintain our youthful appearance that if we're not doing those things, we're considered unattractive. You're comparing apples and oranges. You're comparing women who get Botox and makeup and filters and fillers done to men who do nothing. In math terms, the standard deviation for men is much smaller because they're not doing anything at 25, 35, or 45, so the differences in their appearance are natural and come with age. Whereas for women, there could be huge gaps and jumps in the way they look, leading us to prefer one way over another.
Let me go first here, right? Something ain't right with the modern West woman. Now in 2024, they're angry that men like, Idris Elba, Leonardo DiCaprio, Denzel Washington, right? They're in their 40s, 50s, and women still love them, Notice how, right, the average young guy in his 20s or 30s ain't checking for Meryl Streep, Helen Mirren, Vivica Fox. but feel like the average young woman in the West, right, in her 20s, loves Idris Elba, loves George Clooney, loves Michael B. Jordan, and these guys are in their 30s to 40s. Women want to compare with us so bad, Theo. You can't be us, right? We value women on their beauty, right? Youth and beauty. If you're past your peak, tough. That's why when you're in your peak, find the man. Work hard to find your man. Because when you're past your peak, guess what? Every day, woman turn 24. Every day, woman turn 23. Every day, a chick turns 21, 22, and they're gonna replace you. Now they're hating on dudes, right, that are loved by young women worldwide because for some odd reason, Theo. Break it down for us, bro.
I mean, she obviously doesn't qualify for a silver fox. That's the issue. She wants to have this kind of guy. I'm talking with Western women today about the same kind of thing. They're begging for it. they're begging for a successful older guy, and they don't qualify because we have options. We can go someplace else and get a hot chick, and these women aren't hot anymore, so they're trying to rationalize or negotiate their beauty to silver foxes, and this ain't gonna work. We're just gonna look at you like you're nuts. Any ladies who are listening, that's what I say. I'm 50 years old. The older I get, the more women I get eyeing me.
Mm.
It's the way it is. Particularly if I take care of myself. The more muscles I get, the more weight I lose, the more women I get eyeing me. It's the way it goes. And then I'm successful. I have more confidence. I display that. I display a presence of myself because I am more experienced. I get more chicks coming after me. It's the way it is. If you know, I have options. I have option of women in their 20s. So if you're going to have a problem, and you don't like it, I don't care, because I'm looking at the 27 or 28-year-old. I'm not looking at you. It's the way other guys, other silver foxes are the exact same way. So you can yap all you want. You're just, who cares? It's like, lady, when I was 21 years old in the West, I had to hear about how I wasn't enough. And you guys, the women who were 18 to 22 were dating guys who were older. And I had to suck it up. I didn't complain about it. I just continued on with my life, right? So I tell these women the same way. You failed to get the guy in your youth for whatever reason. Suck it up if older men don't want you now in your decline.
Facts. Once again, Theo, right? Notice how you don't see, right, men that are 25, 26, 30, 35, 36 with women that are 55 and 60. But you see every day a guy that's 55, 60, 50, 45 with women that 25, 21, 20, 22, 19, whatever. We're not the same. We're not the same.
No.
Right? We're not the same. Okay? Women value wiseness, they value maturity, they value resources, and older men just have that. Men value beauty, youth, okay? And you're an old woman, you're past your prime, tough. The average guy isn't checking for Meryl Streep or Vivica Fox anymore. They're past their prime.
No.
It is what it is.
No, we're not looking at it at all. And when they talk this way, I either laugh or just don't pay attention to them. That's the way it is. I had one Western woman saying that because I was putting her in her place, that I was interested in her. I said, "What are you, nuts? Just continue manifesting that way. You know, buy a dog, because we all know where you're going to go alone." And then I gave her a gif of a grave. I was like, "Get out of here! You know, really, wake up, woman." And they don't wake up. So I'm like, all right, just don't listen to them. So this is going to continue, because I'm Gen X, and there are quite a number of Gen X women who are single still. And in the next 10 years, this is going to increase. And they're going to be talking like this, and Gen X men know better. The millennials, Gen Z, those guys are going to watch what we're doing and choose entirely different. So, you know, as long as the men are happy, I'm good.
Facts, absolute facts. All right, so next clip to react to. From studio, present video file. All right, let's react to this Korean chick.
No, I'm not. I want to. Like, I'm searching like cute, like black boy in the club. Honestly, yeah, I'm not dating anymore.
What type of guys do you like?
I like guys, honestly. They're really hot. I really like dark skin. And they're really tall and muscular, honestly, than like Asian people. So I'm just dating like black people or like American. I don't have any fantasy, but just the fact that they're really hot and treating me really nice, and they're thick lips.
You like guys with thick lips?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, they're super hot with the thick lips. Just, yeah. Theo.
So like, how did you meet your ex-boyfriend?
In the club, he was really cute and he's wanted to like know me, so we just keep texting each other and just he wanted to be my boyfriend, so that happened. He asked.
All right, so let me go first here, right? Brothers, under no circumstance should you be going after a foreign woman like this abroad. She is westernized. She's got belly piercing, you can tell there, and women with belly piercings you want to avoid. That is 3 or 4 alarms, okay? Number two, the accent, trying to copy an American accent, right? The way she's dressed. Um, she's clearly on, watching too much adult stuff, and I'll keep it PG. So you don't want a chick like this, man. You want a classy chick, long dress, cover her stomach, cover her chest. Yeah, and the English is just too good. It is too good, right? That's a red flag there. And yeah, be careful, brothers. So don't date foreign woman like this. Even though she's in Korea right now, don't date her. Okay. What's your thoughts about this kind of clip for you and her mentality?
You want honest from me, right?
Mhm.
I would take it on a case by case basis and see what she is talking about. I would just kind of investigate her. That's about it, because you don't know what her how she got her skill set. So again, let's talk about Anna, for example, in Russia. She got English from the Russian educational system. So she had rarely met foreigners in her life. So she had only been at church with some foreigners for about a year. No foreigner had touched her. She was a translator, so her English was impeccable. So you don't know where she got the English from. It could have been from Voice of America, BBC, the broadcasting, the British Broadcasting Corporation. It could have been from YouTube, some other source. We don't know where it came from. You just have to kind of investigate it and then look to see if there's an issue. It could be there. It could not be. I just say be careful with it, because you couldn't miss a gem. I've had women, for example, I've had Ukrainian and Russian women say that I was basically a male 304 in Russia because my Russian was so good. And I took that as a point of pride. And I was like, well, thank you for saying my Russian is that good. But no, I wasn't doing that because I knew better. But they thought that's what I did. And that wasn't me at all. So, learn the language, because, if you learn Korean really well, Korean girls might come out and say that you've been running through them, and you'll be like, dude, man, I was just trying to get some bulgogi and kimchi, man. What's wrong? And that's it. I'm just chilling out. I like your language. I wasn't trying to do anything. I'm looking for a wife. Are you a wife? Right? You know, that's the way I look at it.
I also want to add here, Phil, right, that she wants to, they're tall, black guys are tall. I want to make it very clear to foreign women, right, that not all black men are tall, like NBA players or tall, right? There's plenty of short black men. There's plenty of nerdy black men. So it seems to be like a recurring theme with some foreign chicks that tall, blah blah blah. Listen, not all brothers are tall, and I speak with brothers every day. Like I PM this tall, 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", 5'6". Do they would they check for me? I'm like, yeah. But you want to avoid a woman like this who only wants tall brothers. Right? She's clearly delusional. Not every black guy is a tall NBA player. It's just not how the world works. Isn't that right, Theo?
Yeah, but if she has a type, then she has a type.
Mm.
And that's okay. And as she goes through life, maybe her type will change. It's hard to tell. So again, for myself, I really like blonde Slavs. I got a thing for them. Like between 5'5" and 5'8" blonde Slavs. Oh, I go for them every time. Right? Well, there are by far more beautiful brunette Slavs than there are blonde Slavs. So I mean, if somebody was criticizing me for it, I'd be like, I'm not going to change. I like my blonde Slav, just the way I am. Uh, um, okay, but maybe in the end, that's what I marry as, a brunette Slav and not a blonde Slav. That's just the way it is. Um, if she likes that, she likes that. More power to her. Can she keep them? I had friends in Japan who were like Japanese girls, like 5'3", and they only dated like Marines, black Marines.
Hmm.
And these black Marines were all 6 feet and above. And they gave me their stories, and they belong on your Patreon, but not here. Okay. And they had all these stories, right? The issue was when these women hit 30 and above, they were all single, right? I wonder why. They didn't have their man, but they had all of these stories, but they didn't have their man. So can they keep the man? That's all that matters in the end. They have a romp. Might have a lot of romps, but can they keep the man?
Facts. Awesome. Okay. So next clip to react to. This one here feels gonna blow your mind, and we're gonna tear it apart for you. Actually, just how the West has fallen, brother. It just doesn't. It's just nonsense.
Hot coffee and tea in the morning. Girl hobby is drinking hot coffee and hot tea in the morning. Girl dinner is iced coffee and girl hobby is iced coffee and tea in the morning. Oh my gosh. Girl hobby, girl dinner, girl math. Oh my gosh. Anyways. Girl math is drinking hot coffee and tea in the morning. Girl hobby is drinking hot coffee and hot tea in the morning. Girl dinner is iced coffee and girl hobby is iced coffee and tea in the morning. Oh my gosh. Girl hobby, girl dinner, girl math. Oh my gosh. Anyways.
You first, Mr. Theo. What is going on?
See, this is what you get when you get too much freedom and you get like no threat of foreign invasion. You get stuff like this. See, like if she had a threat of somebody coming across the border, she wouldn't be talking this way. So that's just too much peacetime. That's it. I'm looking like, what am I looking at? Like, what kind of hot mess am I looking at right now? Okay. Whatever, lady. And then she does the turnaround. Okay. Next. This is a mess. I know. This is what I avoid.
Bro, this is what we're dealing with, brothers, in the West. Low IQ acts, right? Minus 1 digit low IQ acts, right? It's just like when I first saw this, I'm like, what is this? Right? The attention seeking, the dumbness of this act, at the end of it, showing her body. This is how these West women are moving, brothers. No lack of critical thinking, lack of foresight. I mean, what does one gain from that? And that's why I'm telling you, brothers, man, get your passport. Can you imagine a Colombian chick doing that, Theo? Can you imagine a Panamanian
No.
chick doing this? Can you imagine a Japanese, Russian doing this, right? This is what we're dealing with. We are dealing with actually low intelligent, low IQ people in the West. I'm not saying all of them are, but there's a segment there and it's growing where it's just something is missing there. The intelligence is missing there. Do you want to
No.
deal with a woman like this your whole life, brothers? Hell no.
I would say like a Japanese girl might do this if she's a comedian and she's being produced by somebody else. Like, if they understand this is something funny and silly. So this is like on a talk show at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I can see that. Yeah, but everybody would know this is laughter time, right? Not reality. I can't see a Japanese woman doing this like as a outside of comedic relief or something like that. Like this is reality? No, man, they just don't talk that way. A Slavic woman? No. I mean, I can see people going out there and trying to see this on TikTok and Instagram. I'm like, okay, maybe you found some videos like this, but for the most part, this ain't gonna happen. But the the problem is that us as Westerners, we're all too used to this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
That's the issue. This is not uncommon. So, and we know women like this who act like this off of camera. So, I mean, just get a passport, let it go. Ugh,
Get your
ugh.
passport, brothers, man. I think this here should have been a breaking point. It's just too much nonsense in the West. Like this made me angry. It really did. I'm not just. What is the point in doing this? You know.
Yeah, I mean, nice. I mean, I look at another point. I'm like, oh, a tanned blonde. Uh, if you could just get 20 more IQ points into her, she'd probably make a good mother. But I mean, whatever it is, lady. Okay, whatever. Like, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Well,
Oh, get your passport, man. Get out this nonsense we're in right now,
yeah.
man. So
Gotta say some points to her. It was like, oh yeah, that's a good bag. Okay, she got good shoulders. I mean, but nice. I mean, she could do a little bit better on the hair, but that's fine. Girls already have that kind of day. It's fine. Why is she acting that way? I mean, why can't she have more confidence about her life? And I can see Western women, okay, because of the men. Okay, let's go to Russia and let's see how the Russian women act that way. They're not going to act that way. They're not
mm,
going to act stupid. They're not going to act silly. They have other things to do. They know better. So it's because you have such a good position, a good world given to you by men, by Western men, you can actually afford to act like that. When you go to another
mm.
country, you can't afford to act like that.
Absolute facts, absolute facts. So two more clips to react to, and then we'll see what happens after.
Why do I have to work? Why? Why do I have to work? I hate it. I hate working. It doesn't matter what I do. It does not matter what I do. I could love my job to death. I will not want to come into work. I just don't want to go in. I don't want to go to work. There are so many other things I can be doing with my life than working. Like, I say it all the time. It doesn't matter what I do. Like, I can be doing so many other things. Like, I could be going it's 27 degrees out. I will still go for a walk. Like,
Yep, you can be doing several other things, including raising a kid, raising your children, looking after a household. Now, these modern women are seeing that they've been duped by ethnism, by being boss babes. They're now saying that listen, you're just another person, another figure in this corporate capitalist machine. The elites want you working. They want to exploit you, and and milk you dry, right? For their big corporations, they don't really care about your boss babe or whatever kind of movement you're on. You're another number on the on the ever ending right list of employees. Okay, now you're seeing right why conservatism, being traditional, being a housewife, being cooperative, loving your man, loving your husband is one of the best things a woman can do. Not being boss babes, not not trying to be some sort of super mom or superwoman. No, now you're saying you don't want to work anymore. No, you better work. Listen, you better work up at 5 a.m. every day in the morning. Be at work at 8 a.m. Work all the way to 7 p.m. Okay, get home, rinse and repeat. You better keep working. No, don't you dare quit your job. I want you working two jobs too. Since you want to be a boss babe. Go for your
So, um, she can only think this way because Western men created a system so advantageous to the women that being a stay-at-home mom is an option. In fact, a desirable option for many women in the world. Being a stay-at-home mom is a fantasy, like a Disney fantasy, and something they cannot ever possibly do. So again, we're talking about Slavic women today. Slavic women, of course, go back to work. It was mandated to them. So they go back to work after they have children, and they're very used to working. It's a very normal part of their culture. So if you're dating a Slav, she's going to want to work for the most part. She will keep her job, and then she will have children, and then she'll want you to, while she's weak, she'll want you to take care of things. But then once she's able to come back, she's going to want to go back to work again and be what she was before. But she'll want to love her children, and she has a place in her for her children, her family. She's complete. She will never act like this. A Slavic woman, if she has the opportunity to stay at home and be devoted to her children for her entire life, that to her is like some sort of Disney fantasy. And she's very grateful if she can do that. And if she can, then she'll raise the kids. And once the kids are out of the house, then she'll go back into the workforce because they have a very strong work culture. So, Western woman, you're entitled. You're not worth it. I don't even know why we're dating you. Why we're even considering it.
Absolute facts. Like we said, carry on working. We want you working 2 jobs. We want you waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning, get in the office at 8 a.m., get home at 8 p.m., rinse, repeat. You wanted that life, you deal with it. F it.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. That's exactly what they deserve. So all the women who are strong and independent, yeah, keep on doing that. Because I guarantee within the next 15 years, Western women will have no option but to work for the rest of their lives. And a lot of women already have this, but I'm saying it's going to be all of them. They're all going to have to work. And that's exactly what they wanted. So good luck, ladies. You have to work. You have no choice.
And Theo and the other passport bros will be with their foreign wives, right? And girlfriends. And the girlfriends will be looked after. They're still feminine, still submissive, but they may want to be a housewife because we can afford it, then everything's all good. And then they'll be laughing at you, Yao, for taking the feminist Kool-Aid and the brainwashing. That's your fault.
Yeah.
That's your fault.
Yeah. They deserve it.
Why do you think the brothers are in IT right now? Why do you think the brothers are working towards IT, right? Investing, building themselves up. We ain't doing it for y'all Western women. We're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our legacy, for future kids, for future relationships. We ain't doing it for y'all. And guess what, right? When we get to the top, you Western women ain't gonna be near us, man. In fact, right, there'll be two scenarios here. Okay, I'm gonna be in Panama, okay, and I'll be speaking English. And then there'll be an American chick saying, hey, IP. Oh, wow, I finally met another person that speaks English. I'm going to tell her, hey, I don't speak English. I speak American. I don't understand you. What? I don't speak English. I only speak American. Huh? No English. Americano. I only speak American, no English. That'll be the first situation, brother. I can't wait to do that, brother. That's how we're gonna move, Phil. That's how we're gonna move.
All I can say is that I'll probably be in another country. I'm in the process right now of buying a condo in Colombia, and so I'm gonna buy one condo in Colombia, condo in Sao Paulo, and then I would love to buy one in Kiev once everything gets down. And so I'm gonna be out in another country, and then if a Western woman walks by, I'd be like, "Who are you?" Just look the other way.
Yes, indeed.
Won't even. Yes. Not gonna speak. Not gonna say anything. Nothing.
Yes, indeed. So that was the last one, Mr. Phil, that we reacted to. Let's go on for another 10 minutes, brothers. Okay, let's get some callers in. Then we'll wrap it up 10-15 minutes. So, brothers, call in if you want to speak about your time in Russia or any questions about Russian women, etc., etc. If y'all don't call in the next 5 minutes, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to have a great week ahead. And yep, I hope you've enjoyed this incredible show hosted by me and Mr. Theo Waff. Okay, classic Russia. These Russian chicks, man, imagine a half Japanese, half Russian chick. Lord.
No,
oh my goodness.
No, half Russian, half North Korean, or Well, actually, Korean that was taken during World War II. That's in Siberia, or half Turkmenistan. I forgot what the ethnicity is there. So half one of those with half Ukrainian. It has to be a Slavic mix, a Soviet mix. They're the ones because the Japanese and Slavs usually like oil and water. They don't mix together, but Koreans do. Um, Siberian Asians do. Like Mongols do. Yeah, they definitely will mix. So those are some good options there.
Wow, beautiful mixes. Y'all calling, y'all got 5 minutes. If y'all don't calling, we're gonna wrap it up, get some sleep, and we get ready for another busy week of grinding, and just pushing forward at all costs, man. The grind don't stop. The grind, we passport bros, man. We passport bros. We
Yeah,
passport bros. Come,
I
bro.
have to study. I was studying Ukrainian all weekend, and I hadn't studied Ukrainian that intensely in a while. It made a lot more sense to me. So yeah, I like studying Russian again. It's actually a really fun language. So you have to get used to pain. That's all. If you're like used to pain and suffering, it'd be fine.
There's a super chat here.
Yeah, good, super chat.
Shout out to Mr. Charismatic Arts for the $5 super chat. Economy is hitting some of these Western women, so they're switching up. Plus, Gen Z don't want to work anymore. Yeah, I heard that. They don't want to work anymore, Gen Z.
Yeah, so this is something that we had in Soviet times, and this is what I didn't mention, but I knew this very well. So Jordan Peterson talked about this. So he said first you have the women who don't work, and then the women want to work, and the men are dealing with it, and then at the end the men don't work, and the women must work. So that's why I was talking about women having to work in the West, because pretty soon Western men are not nearly going to be working as much as they are now. They're going to go really low. They're going to go only to subsistence for the most part. And I already saw this happen in Soviet Russia. So one of the women's biggest complaints is that like Ivan isn't working. I saw this all the time. He's drunk. And so don't want to say there are Russian men who work. There are Soviet men who work, but there were a lot of them who were drunks. Just straight out, I saw this all over the place. I didn't criticize it. I was like, whoa, okay. And so there's not a lot of choice of men. And so that's why the Slavs wanted to have somebody else from another country who can treat them well. This is going to happen next in the West. What's going to be unfortunate is that a lot of these Western women are not going to figure this out until their eggs expire. And they're going to be left childless. And this is going to be a fun thing to watch as I get into my elderly years. Like, ha ha ha. We done told you. It's going to be good.
Shout out to Theo. So we got a caller, JM, confirm, camera off, please, camera off. Awesome, thank you, bro. So let me bring in Mr. JM in the background. Let's get it cracking, man. What's going on, JM? How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, 10 to 15 minutes is not enough. It's not enough. You guys hit on so many topics. I'm like forced to choose one. But I guess I'll ask about certain questions I have about Russian women. And I'll just be quick hitting because I know there's not much time left. The first I have to ask is about the high divorce rate in Russia and why that might be, Theo.
There are various reasons for this. A lot of it was economic. So the system, it's kind of like the Section 8. That's communism, kind of like socialism we have in the West. So they have, she can have education, she can have her job, her house is paid for, and then, what is it? If she needs childcare, there's childcare for her. So if she thinks her husband is underperforming, she can get rid of him. Or there's some sort of issue with him, she can get rid of him. The issue is, this is how it breaks down in Soviet times, is that the possibility for her getting remarried is low. It could happen, unlikely, but it could happen. So she's going to have to think twice about it. Plus, the next guy that she married, particularly in Soviet Russia, is going to be making probably the same money as her ex did. So she's going to think twice about getting rid of him because of finances. So that was something that was going on. There were other things that were going on with Soviet times. Now, I would say divorce is also very prevalent in Russia and Ukraine. DV is another reason why. Historically has been an issue. Cheating, massive issue with the men. They do it like crazy. And then lastly, I would say the men entirely not working. So, like that. That's an issue. So it's either this or this. And you hear those stories and then the women leave.
All right. Well, I mean, I've kind of heard of those before, but I couldn't help but notice that most of actually, I think all of the things you listed were the fault of the men. So are you saying that the men are the reason why the divorce rate is high?
There are women also. Okay, so you really want the lowdown. Well, I've asked this to a lot of Russian Slavic women, and they also say that they just felt like their lives were going in another direction. You have to be careful about this. So, is she really into you, or is she going to develop in a different way? And if she says, for example, that she became a different person from her partner, be careful. In fact, I would just say straight out, drop her, because she's going to do that to you. So it's a problem with her indecision, and she has to figure that one out on her own.
Yeah, that's what scares me is that I know that in Russia they're not really religious, and I think that marriage and religion kind of go hand in hand. I mean, I know that marriage was a concept even before religion, but if there's no they don't believe in a higher power, right? Once marriage is no longer convenient to them, right? You just mentioned about how they have everything taken care of from the government, and what's like really the need for you, you know what I mean? So that's
because if she wants to get laid, she needs to have you. Remember, if she gets divorced, especially in Soviet times, if she gets divorced and then she's looking for another guy, there's a much less likelihood that she's going to get remarried.
Okay, but you mentioned
it's not like the West. She can go through guys. That ain't going to happen. That particularly the Soviet times. Nope. And now she's like, not really. Especially if she's a single mother, forget it.
So she can't even get like fun time, like not marriage,
no.
But just like time with them. Okay.
No. You're thinking in terms of the West. In the East, you don't have that kind of like. There's real scarcity. So she's not going to have that many options. There's some that are there, but not really. It's not like she's going to be like, okay, I'm dating this one guy. He has like $5,000 a month. I don't want that. So I want a guy who makes $15,000 a month. So I'm going to get rid of him and wait for the $15,000 a month guy. That ain't going to happen, because if she does and she tries to go the $15,000 a month guy, he's probably going to do DV against her and then throw her out in the streets. And she already knows that. So she's going to think twice and say, if I get rid of this guy, am I going to date a guy who makes $2,000 a month, and maybe he stays with me, but he's really not contributing. It's only $2,000, but let's say she makes $5,000. That's an issue. Like, that's a big thing for her to think about. So she's going to be less likely to do that.
I guess the
All
thing.
right. Sorry, bro. Can I wrap up? So I've got an emergency to actually sort out real quick, brother. Sorry, man.
Sure.
I've got to sort out something before I wake up in the morning. All right, I'm going to have to drop you, JM, but appreciate you both for calling in, brother. Let's catch up later on. Appreciate you, bro. Theo, do you have any closing statements, brother, before I let you go?
Good live stream. Had a great time. Guys, again, if you talking to a Russian woman, be masculine, vet her, talk to her, take her seriously, respect her. Never ever treat her as being less than. You dare treat her as being less than, she'll get rid of you. If you respect her, though, you respect her femininity, you respect her position, and you treat her as an equal, she will go feminine, submissive to you, and you'll be just fine with her, especially if she likes you. And a lot of them are checking for brothers, so you should be just fine. Go learn some Russian, and you'll be okay.
Thank you, Theo.
Paka.
What does that mean?
It means Johnny. Bye-bye.
Oh, the slangy. Thank you, Theo. All right, brothers. I'm International Passport. Thank you very much for watching, brothers. Make sure look out for the Python course next month in February. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you brothers on the next video. Peace out. Salute. Take it easy.